Hello everyone, we are back again with more Phoenix Wright Ace Attorney, or Apollo Justice Ace Attorney. A Phoenix Wright Apollo Justice Ace Attorney, it's just both games. Today we're going to start case number 4 of the 5th game, and this is where the game gets serious. This is where all kinds of crazy things happen. It's gonna be great, awesome, amazing. I'm going to refresh my chat real quick, see if there's anyone here. Complain about my laptop being too old. And I guess, hey Mafia Babe, what's up? Are you ready for case 4? Are you ready? Are you hyped? Are you flippin' hyped? We're gonna do it. We're doing it right now, right this second. The Cosmic Turnabout. You ready? Let's go. This is gonna be crazy. Or maybe it'll be boring, who knows? Or maybe I'll be boring. The courtroom bombing incident. A terrible attack launched by the will of a madman. That incident perfectly symbolized the state of the legal world in this dark age of the law. Mr. Wright brought it to a resolution of sorts. Ted Tonate was discovered to be the one responsible for the bombing. If only it were that simple, hey Foursquare. Somehow I can't help but think. That there's a darker influence at work, one that's lurking in the shadows, waiting. That's why I want to review the trial that was taking place when the bombing occurred. After all, I've got more than a few personal stakes in it. What's that mean? How you doing though? The Cosmic Turnabout, Episode 4. Space. Earth. Space.
1 hour remaining until launch. Please begin your final equipment check.
Hey Gray. You're just in time for the start of case 4. How you doing? Uh-oh. I don't think that was meant to happen.
Come in at 2. Come in. Do you copy?
So it takes place on a different planet? No, it's definitely Earth. Uh-oh. That's what I say. Uh-oh. Yeah, that's a bit not good. December 16th. Looks like we're in court already. Are you all ready? Time for another trial to begin, but this one is different. Sorry to bother you, but... Oh, hey Junie. Are you alright, Apollo? Ack, was I making a scary face just now? Oh, hi Juniper. Yes, I'm fine. I was just doing my Chords of Steel exercises. Now I am all ready to go. Yes, knowing you, I'm sure you will be just fine. Oh, I brought you a present from my garden. Is this a lotus root? That's right. My grandma says lotus root is good for your eyes. She even says that if you look through the holes, it can help you see into the future. It's for good luck. Maybe later you can cook it and... Thanks for this. I'm gonna have some right now. Oh my. Crunch. Kinda tough though. You can't eat it raw, but Thank you for the enthusiastic try. Oops, if she didn't think me weird before, she will now. I gotta calm down. Apollo, I'm sorry I'm late. Hi, Athena. Junie, I didn't know you were coming today. Did you come to cheer Apollo on? Oh, I get it. You sly little thing, you. Athena, stop. Quit kidding around, Athena. The trial's about to start any second. Is everything all set? Oh, Apollo, when will you ever figure it out? Oh, Apollo. Figure out what? Ha. Gah. Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. This is it. It's all over for me. They're gonna find me guilty. This is our client, one Mr. Solomon Sol Starbuck. He's a very famous astronaut who happens to be an acquaintance of mine. You wouldn't know it right now, but he's usually a very upbeat and driven person. The scene of the crime this time happened to be the Cosmos Space Center. Back in high school, my best friend and I went there almost a little too much. But that's where we met Mr. Starbuck. We'd ask about space travel, and he'd launch into story after story with so much passion. Back in those days, the man was 100% my hero. Are you sure you're okay with being my lawyer, Apollo? Of course I'm sure. I know you, Mr. Starbuck. I know you're not the type to commit murder. Thanks, but... I was supposed to be in space right about now. You're so depressed. It almost seems like an act. That launch getting called off must have been a huge shock. I'll probably never get the chance to go into space again. Don't say that. Don't stop believing. Besides, you just have to go into space again. Yeah, I don't think I could face Clay in the afterlife if I just rotted away in a cell. Clay Terran. I can't believe he was murdered. I mean, he was such a promising astronaut under your command. Yeah, he was a good guy. Always there to pick me up when I was down. No one loved life as much as him, that's for sure. He was always so full of energy, telling me, "You're fine, Mr. Starbuck." How could something like this happen to a guy like him, huh? I've never seen Mr. Starbuck so down. Clay's gone and I'm going to prison. I wish I could burn up like a shooting star right now. Mr. Starbuck, you'll be fine. Ah! What is it? What's with the yelling? I'll get to the bottom of this today. You'll see. And in exchange, I want you to go back into space for you and Clay. Promise? Does that mean you have lots of evidence to prove my innocence? Oh. Well, about that. We didn't get to investigate the area as much as I'd have liked, thanks to the police. I'm done for. I'm a goner. Everybody thinks I did it. Though, thought I was gonna soar up like a comet, but I'm just gonna crash like a meteorite. No, don't say that, Mr. Starbuck. Don't count yourself out yet. I know it's hard to lose a teammate, but you've got to keep going. And what about you, Apollo? What about me? I was just thinking, wasn't Clay your best friend? We need to focus on the trial right now. Are you all ready to go? Apollo? The trial is about to begin. If the defense would please proceed into the courtroom. Okay, here we go. This is it. This is one trial I can't afford to lose. Oh no, guys. Apollo's best friend was killed. Remember the one he kept referencing? For Clay's sake and our clients, I will find Clay's killer. Yeah, stinks, man. Well, here we go. court is now in session for the trial of Solomon Starbuck. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Whoa, look at Apollo. Excuse me, Mr. Justice. Yes, Your Honor. What happened to your eye? I'm fine. The defense is ready, Your Honor. Are you sure? I don't... These graphics are the best. I'm glad you like them, Foursquare. But yeah, what have you been up to? Fallout vibes, sword. No swords today, sadly. Or maybe there will be a sword. I'm fine, Your Honor. The defense is ready. I'm sorry, Your Honor. He's been like this since yesterday. He keeps insisting it's just a sty. I suppose it's something he doesn't want to discuss. Maybe he's entering a touchy age. Very well. And the prosecution? The prosecution appears to be ready as well.
Silence!
Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet. No. Grah! Well, he broke out of the change immediately. Hey, Stars over Hyrule. What's up? Welcome to case number 4. How goes you? The prosecution is now ready. Well, it didn't take him long this time. What's up with Blackquill? Now then, I shall give the opening statement.
Silence!
I'll do it. You will? What an unexpected surprise. This time, I can't leave it to anyone else. I see. Something is off with the two of you today. Leaving for Miami next Thursday? It's a very nice place. Oh, next Thursday. A week from now, Foursquare. You both seem different somehow. Very well, Prosecutor Blackquill, your opening statement, if you would. It was just yesterday. The crimes in question occurred at the Cosmos Space Center. Ah, that famous federal research facility of all things related to astrology, right? Astronomy. It's astronomy. Anyway, a rocket was sent to launch from there. What happened to Apollo? It's unknown what's going on with his eye, but he lost his best friend, and we're trying to find who murdered him, and to prove someone innocent, of course. But at 9:28 a.m., before they could even move the rocket to the launch site, two explosive devices were detonated, and the launch was cancelled. My word! 2 bombs? How dreadful! The defendant in today's trial is charged with both the bombing and with murder. One Mr. Solomon Starbuck. For whatever inane reason, he had detonated a bomb on the rocket he himself would be in. Solomon Starbuck? I recognize that name. Isn't he that famous astronaut? Correct, your baldness. Mr. Starbuck was the pilot of the Hat-1 Reese rocket 7 years ago. As you may recall, despite some interstellar trouble, his mission was a success. Some say it was a miracle he returned alive, but I suppose you could say he's a living legend. Oh, I remember now. He became something of an international celebrity, right? They even turned that incident into a movie and everything. You got a real space pioneer in court today. But even heroes tumble from their lofty heights. Returning to the subject at hand. Ah, yes, the victim was one Mr. Clay Terran, a subordinate of the defendant. Indeed, a loyal disciple brutally stabbed to death by his mentor. Stabbed to death, you say? You mean his death wasn't a result of the bombing? Correct. Despite his lofty dreams, the victim was seen as an interloper by the defendant, and so he was sent not into space, but to the universe, which we mortals cannot see. Clay. I think I've heard enough. The case seems pretty clear-cut at this point. However, there is one thing I'm curious about. That metal box next to the witness stand. Ooh, remember that. What purpose does it serve exactly? Since you ask so nicely, it's your coffin. Ah, have mercy on me! I jest. It's evidence. Due to its immense size, we've little choice but to lay it where it rests now. We shall get into the contents of the box in due time. Phew, I feel like I just lost 50 years off my life. Does he even have 50 years left? Inner monologue, Athena, inner monologue. Your cat is here for insanity. Ooh, nice. That's good. Good. Enough jabbering. Bobby Fulbright's the name, in justice we trust. Ah, Detective Fulbright. Very well then, please explain the details of this incident to the court, if you would. On it, first take a look at this pamphlet from the Cosmos Space Center. In it, you'll find a diagram outlining the overall layout of the Space Center. Ah, here we are. For a more detailed look at what's on the left side of this building, take a look at this cross-section that we police have created. See the launch pad and the main building? The launch pad is the square building, and the rounded structure is the main building, right? You got it. The incidents took place in launch pad number 1, and in the main building's lounge. Inner monologue! I'll be using this diagram during my testimony. It'll make it easier to understand. Space Center diagram added to the court record. Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom, boom! One on the second floor of the Space Center's main building, one in the launch pad number 1. Thankfully, only the 2 astronauts were in launch pad 1 at the time. The 2 of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge. But after the escape, one of the 2 was found stabbed to death. A murder on top of a bombing. I should see the evidence, by the way. Cause of death, stabbing. The victim was discovered in the 3rd floor boarding lounge in the main building. And there's the map. And here's all the peoples. Clay Terran. He was a HAT 2 crew member and a close friend. Junie's here again. Solomon Starbuck was a member. Okay. Detective, the victim was already dead by the time you arrived at the lounge, correct? Yep. Thinking he'd sabotage the bombing, the defendant killed him right there in the rocket. Just look at this tragic photo. Oh my, is that knife in the victim's chest? Yes, Your Honor. It's the knife that cruelly ended this young man's dreams. We couldn't find any prints off of it, though, because the defendant was in his spacesuit. By the way, Detective Fulbright, why are the victim's helmet and right glove absent in this photograph? We had to remove them to identify him, Your Honor. I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity, after all. Yes, it would be very difficult to identify him without a face or fingerprints. Now there's just one more thing I'd like to inquire about. What is this round thing next to the victim in this photo? Something so important to the victim he took it with him as he escaped the launch pad. A capsule that apparently contains asteroid samples. While obviously valuable for research purposes, it has no relation to this case. I see. So, we know that the bomb in the main building was on the 2nd floor. But where was the bomb that was in the launch pad number 1 located? That one was on the rocket itself. It was situated around the central part of the rocket. Apparently, the area around the launch pad's elevator was a sea of flames. I would like to submit this diagram report into the record. Cool. The trial's just started and we're already in a bind. You get used to it. Besides, that's what cross-examination is for, right? What the 2 astronauts were doing during the bombing, that'll be the key. So who could have done it this time, guys? Who was the real murderer? Just before the rocket was set to launch, 2 bombs went off. Boom, boom!
Hold it!
How powerful were the explosions? Well, the one in the main building wasn't strong enough to bring that place down. But the room it went off in was burned black. Thankfully, nobody was hurt. Due in large part, of course, to me stepping up to lead the evacuation. Wait, what were you doing there in the first place, Detective Fulbright? I am Bobby Fulbright, hero of justice. I'll be there wherever and whenever people need my help. I'll go to the other side of the world, or even the edges of the universe. I'm not sure he knows how far that actually is. but I guess I'll leave that one alone. Admirable decision, Justice Dono. Huh? What'd he decide? Anyway, could you describe what it was? Can you describe what it was like at the Space Center at the time? The bomb cut the power to the central bank of elevators in the third-floor lounge. It was pitch black in there, I tell you. However, the security cameras and whatnot were running on emergency backup. And how did evacuation go? I immediately and heroically whisked people down to the Space Center's basement shelter. The basement shelter? Yes, there is an emergency shelter beneath the Space Center. An emergency shelter, huh? Oh, here it is. It's at the bottom of the diagram. The Space Center's pretty impressive to have its own shelter. Okay. The power outage and evacuation seem unrelated to the murder at this point. Guess I'll leave that aside for now. So there were 2 explosions in total, correct? Yep, that's right. One on the second floor of the Space Center's main building and one in the launch pad number 1. Let me get this straight. Mr. Starbuck rigged a rocket he was going to board with explosives? Huh? What are you talking about? If the defendant really did plant the bomb on his own rocket, he'd get caught in the explosion as well. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. Fine. A simpleton for a simpleton. Fulbright, the motive. Understood. The defendant actually had astrophobia. Astrophobia? What's that? A fear of space, naturally. Just the thought of space can cause the afflicted to freeze up. And so in his terror, the defendant found a way to stop the launch at the last minute. That's absurd. Unfortunately for you, we have evidence. Take a look at these. What are they? These anti-anxiety tablets were found among the defendant's possessions. Apparently, he was taking them in secret to quell his fears. There were a multitude of problems with the rocket Mr. Starbuck rode 7 years ago. Rumor has it he threatened to crash a number of times as well. Or it threatened. That was, of course, very traumatic for Mr. Starbuck. Objection! But that doesn't mean he'd go so far as to blow up his own ship. Silence! The defendant couldn't bear to mar his good name, now could he? No. Not after the media had branded him Sol Starbuck, space pioneer extraordinaire. Given these conditions, the defendant could hardly run away like some base mutt. What? So that's why you think he resorted to the bombing? Naturally, he constructed this act of sabotage in an attempt to blow up the Space Center, which would effectively abort the launch, but spare his reputation. Erg. Now I'm sure you understand why we have to bring justice down on this atrocious criminal. An astronaut afraid of space? Guess it's the first time for everything. I know, right? Sheesh. What if there was someone who was streamer-phobic? Someone who didn't like to stream, but he was a streamer. Thankfully, only the 2 astronauts were in launch pad number 1 at the time. Hold it! Are you sure it was only the 2 of them? It was just before the spaceship was set to launch, so of course it was only those 2. Well, there could have been somebody else inside that rocket. Silence! That would be interesting. It would. The notion of a third party in launch pad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. And allow me to state up front that there are precious few with the clearance to do so. A fingerprint recognition device? It sounds as futuristic and complex as a space center. Actually, it's not as amazing as you think, Your Honor. Take a look at this photo. This is the door in the lounge with the fingerprint lock. Only personnel whose fingerprints are registered can pass through. I see. It is very different from what I had in mind. And is there a record of the number of people that passed through that door yesterday? Yes, there were only 3. The defendant, the victim, and the director of the Space Center, Yuri Cosmos. That doesn't mean it's possible that the director is the one who did it? Not a chance. He was in the main building when the bombs exploded at 9:28. doing his job directing the launch. Besides having an alibi, he has no motive for committing these senseless acts. He has a point. I guess the director can't be considered a suspect then. Okay. The two of them managed to make it back as far as the boarding lounge.
Hold it!
So while it would appear that the pair barely escaped with their lives, in actuality, one of them had already been murdered inside the rocket. That's the angle the prosecution wants to push, correct? You got it. In fact, that's what I've been trying to say this whole time. If the victim had been alive, he would have for sure tried to stop the bombing. Is there any chance Mr. Terran could have been killed before he boarded the rocket? They were both alive and well at boarding time, and embarked under their own power. Their hearts full of hopes and dreams of space. And then both their hopes and dreams were dashed. If I may continue my explanation, after the evacuation order was given, the defendant made his escape, carrying the victim to make it look like a rescue. But after the escape, one of the two was found stabbed to death.
Hold it!
And who was the first to find the victim? Actually, there were two of them. The Space Center director, Yuri Cosmos, and Detective Candace Arm. One of them was a detective? Yep, Detective Arm specializes in bombings, you see. She and the director were ordering the evacuation following the explosions. They were also worried about the astronauts, so they hurried over to the boarding lounge. That's when they discovered the victim along with the defendant. Two witnesses, huh? And one of them is a detective. I doubt either one would have anything to say that would help me. I think that pretty much covers the details of the case. Only the victim and the defendant were on the launch pad when the former was killed. If this is the truth, then only Mr. Starbuck could have carried out this crime. What little I could get out of him only hurt my case. Justice Dono. Foolish is the warrior who rushes headlong into battle. Preparation is an essential element of battle, so I advise you to take a gander at this. What is it? Footage from the security camera, as the two astronauts emerge from the bowels of the Launchpad 1 corridor. Huh? A boarding lounge security camera captured their desperate escape. Now I will direct your attention to what the defendant is shouldering, which you can see is none other than the lifeless body of the victim. What?
What? What?
Order, I say. This lines up exactly to what the prosecution has been asserting. I should have known Black Quill would have something like this ready. Oh dear. Apollo? How exactly did they determine that Clay was already gone in that footage? Ah, I see what you mean. Whether Clay was still alive at this point is pretty crucial. Your Honor, please take another look at the footage. Isn't it possible that Mr. Terran was still alive here and that Mr. Starbuck was helping him? Why, I believe you're right. One man carrying the other to safety. What a beautiful expression of friendship.
Silence!
You just asked your cat, what? And what did your cat say? Was she like, meow? Perhaps that's what it looks like to be a one-eyed hothead and a dotard. But it only makes sense if it's the victim's dead body. What do you mean? Fool Bright, explain it to Justice Dono. You got it. Ready, kid? If the murder had occurred in the lounge, someone could have spotted it. Anyone can enter the lounge after all, but doing it while they were alone in the spaceship, that's a horse of a different color. She was confused. Awesome. But you can't deny that there's a possibility the murder could have happened in the lounge. All that video shows is a man helping his fellow astronaut out.
Silence!
Your assertion is based on emotion. It's based in your belief that Mr. Starbuck would surely help his own disciple. But you have no logical explanation as to why the victim could still be alive. Irk. Unfortunately, Mr. Justice, the prosecution is right. Your argument is lacking in sound logic. But it sounded perfectly logical to me. Well, Mr. Justice, if you have no further objections, I believe it's time to bring this cross-examination to a close. Objections? Well,
Hold it!
Ho ho. Your Honor, the defense requests a little time to think and regroup. Hang on a minute. Given the facts, I'm not sure I see the need. What is it, Athena? It's just, there's something that's been bothering me. If it isn't the defense stalling for time, as always. Very well, I'm feeling generous. You may have a small measure of time. Yes. You have 5 seconds.
5 seconds?
After that, I declare this cross-examination to be closed and a verdict to be rendered. Your baldness, raise your gavel high. It's time for a countdown. Oh! Ready?
We don't have time. Spit it out, Athena.
Only 3 more seconds. Look, I don't think the prosecution's explanation is very complete. Meaning there's something missing. Like they conveniently left it unexplained. Something they didn't explain? Something they didn't explain. Ah, you're right. I think I know what you're talking about. Your 5 seconds are up, Mr. Justice. Is there anything about the prosecution's argument that you'd like to rebut? Yes, Your Honor. Actually, there is. There is something the prosecution has yet to make clear to this court. Well, if you put it that way. What is it that the prosecution has failed to explain? Not sure. Maybe... why? They have failed to explain why Mr. Starbuck would bother bringing the body back at all. If the defendant wanted to kill the victim, why didn't he just leave his body in the rocket? Why go through the trouble of bringing him all the way back to the boarding lounge? Oh, that's true. I don't think we've heard the prosecution's thoughts on that yet. That's because they have none, Your Honor. After all, how does one explain something so illogical? The prosecution is claiming that the defendant moved to the victim's dead body. But what if the entire premise of that argument is wrong? Then let's hear your theory, Mr. Justice. The defense proposes that the defendant didn't kill the victim. He was helping him. You haven't heard why? You haven't heard why? Why what? Fulbright, explain it for our sad friend here before I nod off to his monotone monologue. Inform him exactly why Spaceboy moved the victim. Huh? They've gotta be joking. It's simple. Mr. Starbuck did what he did to direct suspicion away from himself. He wanted to create the impression he heroically risked his life to save his partner. Oh, you haven't heard why? I gotcha. That's why he made sure to make it to the security camera so there'd be a record. At the very least, he appears to have achieved success with you and the old man. One man carrying the other to safety. What beautiful expression of friendship. The average person wearing a spacesuit weighs easily over 200 pounds. Saving the life of a partner who weighs as much while trying to escape deadly flames. What a dramatic sob story fit for the silver screen. Indeed, I was completely taken in by the humanity of the story. You see, yet the true ending is that all traces of his hammy act were meant to be blown up. Yes, and now we arrive at the thrilling conclusion. The third explosion.
Objection!
What are you talking about? There was no third explosion.
Silence!
Indeed, you are correct. But that is thanks to Detective Arm. It was she who identified and secured the bomb. However, it doesn't change the fact that the third bomb was discovered in the lounge. The steel coffin beside the witness stand, that would be a bomb transport case. We used that to transport the deactivated bomb here. It was found in the lounge, a bomb in the form of a most distasteful toy.
What?
On the one on the second floor of the main building, and one on the launch pad, and one in the lounge. The defendant planned to set off 3 fireworks displays. It feels like the argument where you ask someone if they did something, they say no, and you claim that's exactly what someone who committed the crime would say. Yes, it's what a guilty person would say, as well as an innocent person. So who knows which is which? Which version is saying that or something? The defendant planning the set of 3. Fortunately, the third was discovered before it could be detonated. For it had not, the victim's body and the other vital evidence would surely have been immobile. Gah! Before you utter a word, know that the evidence supports me. It's like he's reading my mind. As it still undergoes forensic investigation, I do not have the evidence on hand. However, know that a peculiar item was found in one of Mr. Starbuck's pockets. Specifically, a bomb detonation switch.
You found what?
I suspect the defendant had no time to destroy such damning evidence. He said a swear word, guys! I thought this was a family-friendly game. Sorry, stream's gonna be canceled of this game. I'm gonna go back to streaming Fortnite, okay? No? Okay, fine. The claim is they moved the body to cover their tracks, but also he was trying to save him. Yeah, who knows which one is really true. Hopefully, the second one, right? When the Space Center director and Detective Arms stumbled across the murder, so he thought to hide it in his pockets. Feeble brain that he is. Ah! No. Mr. Starbuck would never do anything like that.
Ah!
Justice, Dono. Open your eyes and see the truth. This appears to be an irrefutable evidence that the accused set off the explosions. No, there has to be some kind of mistake. This can't be the truth. Still can't accept it. You'll believe in your client come what may. Then why don't you cross-examine the defendant himself? This has got to be a trap. It's like Blackwell's controlling the entire game. Yeah, it seemed like he was waiting for me to bring up the body moving issue. Why do you say that? Because he had just the right argument when I pointed it out. And to really rub it in, he had a decisive piece of evidence up his sleeve too. He was trying to shake my faith in Mr. Starbuck and break me down. Then making you cross-examine Mr. Starbuck at this point was part of his plan too? There's more than one that would be Mr. Starbuck. That would be Mr. Starbuck? More than one bomb? Totally underhanded, but I wouldn't expect anything less from him. Now let us hear from the arch-villain, the fiendish murderer himself, famed astronaut Solomon Starbuck. Starbuck, plural, and the coffee. Oh, the coffee brand killed him. I gotcha. It would make sense. Witness your name and occupation, please. Solomon Starbuck, astronaut. How did this happen? Oh, Mr. Starbuck, you aren't looking very well. Will you be able to give testimony? No. Well, unfortunately, no is not an option. We're being accused of the Space Center bombing and the murder of Clay Terran. Please testify to these allegations. Mind if I take this suit off? It's getting really heavy.
Silence!
It's not the weight of the suit that you feel, but of your sins. Prepare to carry that weight for the rest of your life. Banish me to the moon. I don't care anymore. Wow, that was super negative. Is he going to be alright up there? He'll be fine, I think. As long as he doesn't totally give up and say he did it, that is. I didn't kill him. I killed him. All I did was support Clay over my shoulder and get us out of the rocket. Like always, I took the elevator down to the middle lever and headed for the corridor. Clay had passed out by the time we got the order to evacuate. I didn't kill Clay. I was trying to save him. BRB? Okay, gotcha. So you assert you didn't set off the bombs or murder the victim? Haha. But I bet you think I'm lying, right? I reserve all judgment until I've heard your full testimony. I'm sure you don't believe me. I bet you don't even believe I'm an astronaut. I don't think the judge doubts that. Who'd wear a suit like that except an astronaut? I will say that when I saw you in that movie, you appeared quite courageous, though I suppose reality never quite lives up to fantasy. I guess I'm just a big disappointment. Haha, ha 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 ha. I really don't care what happens anymore. Ha ha ha. Oh no, he's completely given up. Hug. What a depressing fellow. If you were to join me in the clink, I imagine that annoying sighing of yours would rub off on the other inmates. Like how it rubbed off on Prosecutor Blackquill a second ago? Huh? That was Blackquill's sign? Mr. Starbuck's testimony contains a glaring contradiction. The question is, what does it mean? Even if Mr. Starbuck is my client, I can't be gun-shy now. It's time to find out the truth. Give me a second, guys. Once again, give me a second. I didn't kill him. Hang on a minute. Sorry, guys. I'm looking at the guide here. I am dumb and I don't know what the answer is, so okay, support Clay. Like always, you took the elevator down to the middle level. Okay, here it is. Found it. See, I told you guys. I look up a guide because I don't know the answer. I took the elevator down to the middle level and I headed for the corridor.
Objection!
Okay, the guide is wrong. Cool. Cool cheese, my dude. Yeah. Oh, I did the wrong thing. I chose the wrong one, that's why. Where is it? Bombing report. Okay, I didn't even see this. Sparked a fire on the second floor of the main building in the middle level of the thing in the thing. Objection. Mr. Starbuck, I need your testimony to be as accurate as possible. Was I not being accurate? No, because it's impossible for you to have taken the elevator down to the middle lever. What makes you say that, Mr. Justice? Please recall where the bomb went off in Launchpad 1. Also recall that after the explosion, the middle level elevator was engulfed in flames. Oh, you're right. Which means... Exactly. The Launchpad's elevator would have been unstable. In other words... Mr. Starbuck, your statement is decidedly inconsistent with the facts. What's with the helmet? Mission command, do you read me? Come in, please.
Objection!
This is mission command. I order you to pay attention. Stop this nonsense and answer my questions, Mr. Starbuck. My helmet! My oxygen tank! Oxygen concentration and body temperature declining. Requesting medical assistance. Uh-oh. Mr. Starbuck, we are not in space right now. Please stop pretending you have lost consciousness and stand back up. I apologize, Your Honor. I forgot I was still on Earth. I feel like we all just got a real glimpse of Solomon Starbuck the astronaut. Yeah, he seemed more like an astronaut now than when he was doing all that sighing. Mr. Starbuck, could you please explain the inconsistency in your statement? about how you use the middle level elevator? I was nervous, and I said the wrong thing. I'm sorry. I actually, took a different route, I think. A different route? I hope you're able to deliver a straight story this time. I'll get right to it this time. I'll get it right this time. Maybe. No, I mean, probably. Probably. It's understandable to be nervous, but let me remind you, accuracy is paramount in court. Let's see. My escape route. What I said before was a mistake. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably, with the capsule and clay in my arms, I made my way down from the upper level. Yeah. So you're saying you escaped without using the elevator? That's right. There's a ladder that spans the upper and middle levels. I used the ladder to get to the middle level. Luckily, the fire hadn't reached the ladder, so we couldn't make our escape that way. And the capsule you mentioned? I suppose you mean the thing next to Mr. Teren here. Was the capsule that important to you that you'd risk your life to take it with you? It almost goes without saying, but yeah, that capsule contains asteroid samples. Therefore, it's invaluable as research material. With his spacesuit on, Clay weighed a ton, but securing the capsule was also important. Need you to answer to the best of your ability. Mr. Starbuck, please remember that your verdict is writing on your testimony. Ha 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 ha. Maybe I am guilty after all. Hey, welcome back, Mafia. I wonder if you can see the stars in prison, but it's more comfortable than a spaceship. This guy's messing up his cross-examinations, Mafia. It's not looking good. Let's see. My escape route. What I said before was a mistake. I remember now. I took a different route. Maybe, probably, with the capsule clay in my arms, I made my way down from the upper level. God, that's like a tongue twister, saying level and lever. Alright. Space Center diagram. That's when we do this.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, why don't you just tell the truth? The truth? Let's see. The Earth is blue. No, that's not right. So, I guess the Earth isn't blue? Yeah, that's it. The truth, Mr. Starbuck. Grr, the oxygen concentration is super low in this area. Prepare for emergency oxygen tanks. Mr. Justice, the witness appears confused. Please help draw out the truth from him. Mr. Starbuck, under the circumstances at the time, you couldn't possibly have reached the boarding lounge via the upper level route. Huh? Not as long as this was along the escape route. It was the ladder.
Take that!
To get down from the upper to the middle level, where the Launchpad 1 corridor is, you would have to go down the ladder. Isn't that right, Mr. Starbuck? Of course. That was the only way we could escape.
Objection!
No, but how would that work? At the time you were supporting Mr. Teren over your shoulder, were you not? And remember, he was in full space gear as well, putting him over at 200 pounds. Well, it's easy on the moon. Gravity is only 1/6 of what it is on Earth.
Objection!
But the Space Center is located on Earth. Short of being an octopus, climbing a ladder with an adult male in space gear in one arm, while carrying the capsule in your other is impossible, wouldn't you say? Oh. So, Mr. Starbuck, how exactly did you climb down that ladder with your arms full? Ah! Mr. Starbuck, come clean and tell us the truth now. Ah! Engineer, where's that engineer? Oxygen leak detected. Due to faulty maintenance, evacuate immediately. What the? He's flying the coop. Ah, help, I'm caught on the ceiling. Help? Anyone? Bailiff, prepare the cherry picker. We must launch our rescue mission at once. Well, that's one way to take off while being questioned. I'd rather prove his innocence so he can go to space again someday for real. What a guy he is, huh? He crazy. Now then, Mr. Starbuck, do you think you can keep your feet planted on the ground? Yes, I apologize for losing control. Are you ready to tell us the truth?
Not that. Anything but that.
What is going on? This isn't the Mr. Starbuck I know. It appears Spaceboy is prone to deception. Witness. Yikes. Yes? I thought your story odd, but perhaps the inconsistencies can be explained as the result of a medical side effect.
Prosecutor Blackwell, please don't talk about that.
Uh-oh. What are you talking about, Prosecutor Blackwell? Didn't I already state that Spaceboy is ironically terrified of going into space? That's why he took some precautions just before the launch. For you see, traces of this anti-anxiety drug were found in his system. Oh, I sense things are about to nosedive. You got it all wrong. I told him during the investigation too. I don't know anything about any drugs. Never took any medication, I swear. It was found in his system, but he doesn't remember taking it? How could that be? Somebody must have slipped them to me. But I guess maybe that's why I don't remember. Because of the side effects. Yeah, that's why I don't remember much about what really happened. What? Uh-oh. Order in the court. We can't get any useful testimony out of him if he doesn't remember anything. Well, this certainly explains why his testimony keeps changing. Why doesn't he just tell me he couldn't remember? I guess he didn't want anybody to find out he was terrified of going into space. Maybe I really did do it. Which brings us to the answer of our original question of how the witness climbed down the ladder with a dead body. It does? So what is it? A dead man feels no pain and makes no complaints, Justice Dono. So the body was simply dropped down from the top of the ladder. Oh my, I see. And then the defendant could climb down with his free hand.
Objection!
Drop the body down? Who would do such a disrespectful thing? Besides, dropping the body down would leave marks on the body itself. So you are capable of quick thinking. Yes, you are correct. Really? Oh, thanks? Huh? What's this? It's the oxygen tank from the victim's spacesuit. It's ruptured, and I'm sure you can figure out why. You can't be implying it ruptured when the defendant dropped the victim's body. I am, for they fracture easily when struck.
Objection!
Even if that's true, the tank's explosion and shrapnel would leave its mark on the body. Yet according to the autopsy report, only the knife wound was found on the victim's body. You're clearly grasping at straws with this line of reasoning.
Silence!
A spacesuit isn't heavy for the sake of being heavy, Justice Dono. It includes the latest technological devices and is made of the fabric of tomorrow. This fabric is made to protect astronauts from the dangers of space, so falling a few Earth yards would hardly leave a mark on the wearer.
Objection!
Then shouldn't it be impossible to stab someone through it as well? It should, and yet through sheer coincidence, the knife slipped through a weak spot in the suit's structure and found its way to its target. What are the chances? You forget that our killer is an astronaut himself with knowledge of how the suits work. Nah, he's got me there. And now my argument has been proven. Spaceboy killed the victim in the rocket and then dropped his body from the upper level. After climbing down, he shouldered the body and made sure the camera recorded him. There's no room for debate about these facts. It's clear that Solomon Starbuck is the only one who could have killed Clay Terran.
Gag!
Here, the report regarding the astronauts' oxygen tanks. Consider it my send-off gift. Feel free to use it as payment to cross the river Styx. Ack! Oh boy. Oh dear. Hey, this report is pretty detailed. The display on the astronaut's left shoulder shows the oxygen remaining. I guess that means these glowing cyan digits represent the amount of oxygen in the tank. I'm done for. I'm going to prison instead of space. Space boy. Yes? Take heart. The bejeweled night sky is still beautiful even when viewed through bars. You mean the stars as seen from prison? That's right. Your cell will be in your spaceship. Picture the view through the iron bars. It's like being an astronaut in your own craft for all time. That's not a half-bad thought. Mr. Starbuck? Prosecutor Blackwell got to him good. Spaceship prison cell, fly me, my guilt, and my despair into the deepest, darkest space. And then, let's get sucked into a black hole together.
Objection!
Mr. Starbuck, you can't give up hope. Oh? Yes, Apollo. You know, Clay really looked up to you. He said you are an incredible man. He said you'd never give up your dreams and passion for space, no matter the situation. He said that? So don't give up now and help me prove your innocence, for the sake of the man who respected you and believed in you, Clay Terran. For Clay... You're wasting your breath. No. Rah! 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 Huh. He's happy now. Apollo, thank you. I can see things clearly now. Mr. Starbuck, I'm fine now. Thanks for reminding me of my life's mission. Right, we'll both be fine. I'll prove you're innocent, you'll see. And after that, we'll get you back into space. Rah! You've ignited the booster rockets of my soul! I'm on fire! I am Solomon Starbuck, an astronaut, a cosmic hero chosen by the universe itself. This is no time to be whimpering and crying. I can't let you and Clay down. Balderdash. The sun, the moon. All of space is calling me, Solomon Soul Starbuck. Ready for launch. Begin the countdown. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Lift off! And so he went to space. The end. We did it, guys. Yay! Well, I feel like I've witnessed an actual rocket launch. Apollo, you did it! You broke Prosecutor Blackwell's grip over Mr. Starbuck. I can't take the credit. It was all Mr. Starbuck. He pulled himself through. If you simpletons are done massaging one another's egos, no matter how positive your mood, my advantage remains unshakable. I have but to wait for the right, final guilty verdict. Isn't that right, your boldness? Gah! I can't let up now. I have to stop Blackwell. I have to see this through. Mr. Starbuck just has to make it back into space. Aww. I won't allow Clay's dream to remain unfulfilled. I've got to destroy Blackwell's argument somehow. Think, Justice, think. If the only people at Launch Pad 1 were Clay and Mr. Starbuck... And if Clay was already dead by the time this footage was taken, then the only person who could have killed him is Mr. Starbuck. So the only way to counter Blackwell's argument is... if I can prove that Clay was still alive when they arrived at the boarding lounge. In which case I should be able to find some contradiction in the evidence first. Now let's see. About this data that we just received, supposedly proves Mr. Starbuck dropped Clay's body in Launch Pad 1. But if I'm going to prove that false, then there must be something I can use here. Enough of this farce, your baldness. Let's have your verdict.
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackwell, you seem to be in quite a hurry to rush to the verdict. But about this oxygen tank you submitted just now, it says that Mr. Starbuck's tank has 80% remaining, while Mr. Terran's had 0. Do you stand by the accuracy of this report? Of course. I guess it simply means that it's faulty, as evidence goes. You will explain what you mean, Justice Stono. It's simple. This evidence contradicts the facts of this case. Take a look here at the detailed description and you'll see what I mean. Hope you have some evidence, Mr. Justice, because I don't see what's so contradictory. Yes, Your Honor, right away. This is the evidence that the oxygen tank report contradicts to. Okay. I'm going to save the game real quick and make sure that I choose the right one. Okay, guys. This one.
Take that!
Now, does this evidence present a contradiction? The problem is this part here. Okay, it's 50.
Take that!
Note the remaining oxygen in Mr. Starbuck's tank as he carries Mr. Terran. It appears it says to say 50. Yes, but according to the data, our client tank had 80% remaining. The oxygen in the tank increased? I see Your Honor finds it as strange as I do. It's bad enough that there is a contradiction, but the increase in oxygen is beyond illogical. Oh my, you're absolutely right. What is going on here?
Silence!
I too find it odd that the oxygen remaining has increased. It would be as odd as if my rations were to increase. But what does that prove? It doesn't change the fact that it is the defendant carrying the victim's corpse.
Objection!
I'm going to bet you that you don't get more rations because you don't abide by the rules. Either way, the oxygen remaining shouldn't increase just as your rations don't increase. Therefore, this new information is critical. We can't overlook it.
Silence!
In that case, do you have an answer to this riddle of the mysteriously increasing oxygen? You better not disappoint, or I'll declare the inconsistency as mere equipment malfunction. Erk. Prosecutor Blackwell has a point. I suppose it could be a simple malfunction. Mr. Justice, if you cannot provide an adequate counter-argument to this point, I'm afraid I must bring this trial to an end. So do you think you can explain why the remaining oxygen level increased? Of course I can. The thing to do at a time like this is turn my thinking around. Mr. Starbuck has no memory of it, but he claims to have carried clay. So this man with a 50 on his tank ought to be Mr. Starbuck. But if anything, the display on his oxygen tank should have been shown at 80%. This is a clear contradiction between the report and the security footage. So what I should be asking is not why did the oxygen level increase, but what had to have happened to make it look like it had increased. Am I making some kind of mistake in my base assumptions here? Well, Mr. Justice, we're waiting. Yes, Your Honor. I'm ready to answer. This is why the remaining oxygen appears to have increased. The victim was carrying the defendant! What if it was the other way around? The other way around? Would you care to explain, Mr. Justice? As you can see, Your Honor, both men had their helmets on in this footage. But it turns out this is where our base assumptions went astray. We assumed that it was Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran, but it was the other way around. It wasn't Mr. Starbuck helping Mr. Terran at all. It was Mr. Terran who was helping Mr. Starbuck to the boarding lounge. It was what? Order, order, Mr. Justice! You mean to tell me that the person on the right in this image is the victim, Clay Terran? It's the only way this riddle of the increasing oxygen level can be solved, Your Honor. At this point in time, the remaining oxygen in the victim's tank was at 50%. And when the victim was found in the boarding lounge, his tank was at 0%. That's right, there's nothing contradictory about the oxygen tank level decreasing. This means Mr. Terran was alive as they made their escape to the lounge.
Silence!
How short your memory is. Have you forgotten what you yourself proposed? even if the victim was alive at this point in time. How did he descend the ladder with his arms full?
Objection!
Prosecutor Blackquill, you can't hurt me with a broken blade. Excuse me. It's true we don't know how they got down the ladder. I suppose that matter needs further investigation. We have proven that Mr. Terran was alive when he reached the boarding lounge. The fact alone shatters your claims, and opens up the possibility that the victim could have been killed by a third party. Grrrr! There were two people who claimed to be the first on the scene, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the two people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? Don't you all remember Detective Candace Arm, though? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it is certainly possible. You might have to do a little more digging. It seems we'll have to hear this testimony of these first two people on the scene. Score. Come to think of it, Detective Arm should be here in court right now. Bailiff, could you please show Detective Arm to the stand? Wait a minute. I have an announcement, everyone. What's the meaning of this? We're in the middle of a trial here. But please remain calm and listen carefully. Someone has reactivated the bomb. The bomb was defused, but... It's about to explode! Ode? Uh-oh. A bomb? Now?
Ah, everybody run!
Eek! I don't want to die! Oh no, everybody's panicking.
Silence.
Headless chickens with a death wish, the lot of you, calm yourselves up for all this. All else. Come on, Apollo, let's get out of here. But what about Mr. Starbuck's dream, and who will carry out Clay's final wish? I don't care what happens to me. I'm not letting some bomb blow up the truth up forever. I refuse to let things end here. Apollo, this is no time to be dramatic. If we don't get out of here now, we're gonna die. Come on, this way. Hey, ouch, let me go. Apollo! Juniper? She hasn't evacuated yet? Eek! Juniper, are you alright? Apollo, no! Not that way! Ah! Well... And that was the trial, that was happening before the big bomb explosion in the first case. Well, guys, little update on last night's Disney movie, by the way. It also kind of had to do with space, to be honest. Space and mainly the sky. Mainly the sky falling, one would say. And someone shouting, mainly a chicken shouting, "The sky is falling! The sky is falling!" Anyone know what movie I'm referencing there? It was the movie, what was it? Chicken Little, I think it's called. I never saw this movie before. It was interesting. The animation was very, very weird. And, turns out the sky was actually an alien invasion, but it wasn't too bad. It was silly. It was very, very silly. Haven't seen that in ages. I'm seeing all these movies for the first time, and pretty soon you'll be wanting to watch them again, Mafia Babe. But yeah, it was alright. Pretty good, I'll say. Pretty good. Alright, next chapter. Let's go. In the middle of the Space Center bombing trial, we had another bombing incident. This one destroyed courtroom number 4. Furthermore, Apollo suffered massive injuries from being there when the bomb went off. Unfortunately, Juniper Woods was fingered as the courtroom bomber. Athena and I knew she had to be innocent, so we took her case on. We managed to clear Miss Woods' name. But Apollo sustained further injuries when he was attacked by Ted Tonate. Excuse me. I haven't seen him in ages. I know, right? That jerk face. Jerky jerk. Apollo was a tough guy, but this is taking its toll on him. Yeah, poor guy. Being attacked by Tonate like that on top of all his other injuries. Apollo was resting at the nearby Hickfield Clinic. I've had some experience with that place myself. What an awful turn of events. I never thought he'd land in a hospital of all places. You must miss him too, huh? Now that you don't have anybody to tease. Don't worry, he's young. He'll heal quickly and be back before you know it. It's been a while since I last saw Trucy look so down. We won the court case, yet nobody feels much like celebrating. Sniff. Sniffle. Alright, enough of this, people. This is no time to be moping around. Now dry those eyes, both of you. You're the only one who's crying, Athena. Technicalities. Look, we have work to do. We have to take over. Take over what exactly? Apollo's space station, space center case, of course. As no verdict's been reached, there's still a chance. I agree with Athena. We should pick up Mr. Starbuck's defense. We have to avenge our fallen comrade. Right, Daddy? Apollo hasn't exactly fallen. He's still alive, you know. Good. Now that that's settled, let's get going. Come on, we gotta run. Wait, right now? You better not be running in the whole way. There she goes. I better go catch up. Can you take care of the office, Trucy? Sure thing, Daddy. Let's be careful out there. In the meantime, I'm going to bake some cookies and fill up my magic panties for you. Trucy seemed to be feeling a little better. I can always count on Athena to perk everybody up with her enthusiasm. Oh, she's back. Don't mind me, just forgot a few things. Wallet, phone, the documents, my bag. Sounds more like you forgot everything. I can always count on Athena for that too. So sad. Poor Apollo. Alright, you two, let's be careful out there. Detention Center Visitor's Room. So our client is one Solomon Starbuck. He's so famous even I've heard of him. That's right, he's a super famous astronaut who works at the Cosmos Space Center. He was actually up in outer space 7 years ago. You seem to know quite a bit about him. I'm all excited to meet the man. Oh no, he's depressed again. Wow, that was the longest sigh I've ever heard. Apollo told me all about you. You're Phoenix Wright, Apollo's mentor, right? Yes, that's right. Mentor has a nice ring to it. Don't worry about a thing, Mr. Starbuck. Mr. Wright and I have you got you covered. And you're the new kid that Apollo told me about. Wait, don't I know you from somewhere? Huh? You mean other than at your trial? I don't think so. I guess so. My mistake. We're back to Phoenix. You missed quite a lot of stuff, Captain Chips. Like me saying the Disney movie I watched last night was Chicken Little, and other crazy things. My memory isn't what it used to be. My mind and body are kaput. Same goes for my life. I mean, I'm so astronomically unlucky that I had a bomb go off in the middle of my trial. You've been busy, but you here. So, yay! Trying to defend me would be like trying to enter the stratosphere without a spacecraft. Little update for you, Captain Chips. This is our defendant, Solomon Starbuck. He's accused of murdering, Clay Terran, Apollo Justice's best friend, the one that he keeps mentioning. and we were in the middle of a trial when that bomb went off and killed that detective person. So now we're back to the present day. We're in the absolute present day now. Trying to defend me would be like trying to enter the stratosphere without a spacecraft. Yikes, he's seriously got to stop depressing himself. Cheer up, Mr. Starbuck. Besides, that thing you said about entering the stratosphere, that just means we'll shine like shooting stars, right? Like shooting stars, huh? You know, you're right. Why didn't I think of that? After all, that's what we were all put on this earth to do, right? To shine like stars. Oh, yeah. Also, during the trial, Apollo had a bandage wrapped around his eye. Guess I shouldn't mention the fact that shooting stars burn out in a flash. Aw, yeah, here we go. 3, 2, 1. To the stratosphere and beyond. Yeah, I feel alive now, and you can go ahead and ask me anything you want. Is that really all it takes? So, you have no memory at all of the incident? I'm so ashamed. My memory of the time is as black as clouded as the dark nebula. Still, it's strange that you don't remember a thing. Are you sure you didn't take one of those anti-anxiety pills like they said at the trial? You got it all wrong. I told them during the investigation, too. I don't know anything about any drugs. I never took any medication, I swear. By the way, guys, I think I know who the murderer is. I think I know, like, the cause of all this space stuff. There's actually footage right here of what happened. If you'll see by this evidence here,
Do your worst.
yep, I think we have our evidence right there, guys. We know who did it now. Obviously, the mammoth thing. Holy flying mammoths! It is true I developed a fear of space because of what happened 7 years ago. And I was taking medication secretly every now and then with my anxiety. When my anxiety got bad, having a fear of space is not something an astronaut can brag about, you know. Oh, the so-called Hat 1 miracle? That must have been a terrifying experience. But I'm still an astronaut at heart, come what may. I would never take drugs that might impede my performance just before a launch. That launch meant everything to me. That's most certain that the history of relativity. That's more certain, rather. Gasp! Yeah, it's the mammoth, guys. He seems like a completely different person now. This is the face of the astronaut I know. But the tranquilizers were found in your system. Yeah, see, that's the thing. But I don't know why. I'm done for. If you didn't take them, then maybe somebody slipped them to you? Exactly. That's what I thought. It must have been the real culprit. My medication was in my locker. Anybody could have gotten their hands on it. Maybe the real culprit also planted the detonator switch in your pocket. Yeah, that's gotta be it. I've been framed. I'll say that they even managed to plant your prints on the switch before slipping them in. It's a real possibility. Don't you remember anything else that might be relevant? Anything at all, no matter how small, like about the murder weapon, for example. That knife. I think it came from one of the Space Center's utility kits. Utility kits? Yeah, staff who work on the machinery a lot are given these special toolkits to use. All the technicians have them, so I doubt you could prove whose knife it is. Okay. The Hat 1 miracle. As I recall, your last trip into space was 7 years ago, right? That's right. It was a pretty rough experience. During that mission, we had all kinds of problems with the craft. You did? What kind of problems? Power failure, oxygen leakage, busted radio, cracked windows, loose control column, a different mammoth crashed into us. The heat shield came off as we were entering the atmosphere. I thought I was a goner, but I managed to make it somehow with the popsicles and ice packs from the freezer. No wonder they dubbed it the Hat One Miracle. It's a miracle you made it back. Space is a boundless place, that's why it continues to capture people's imaginations. But the vastness of space shows us how insignificant we are in the scheme of things. The darkness just goes on and on forever, and ever, and ever, without end. There was nobody else there. Nobody was gonna come save me. I was all alone. All alone, with nothing to listen to but the sound of my own breathing and heartbeat. I kept scrambling to make it repairs, but I couldn't keep my hands from shaking. An experience like that would make anybody afraid to go up into space. Outer space. So spooky, I know. I don't want to go to space, guys. Don't make me. With the experience you had, weren't you dreading this mission? What? No way. Of course not. Even now, I want to go up into space so bad I can barely stand it. I want to shake off the Earth's gravity at escape velocity and spin around weightless. But you have to admit it was pretty harrowing. Weren't you even a tiny bit afraid? I was afraid. Of course I was. Still am. But space is a man's final frontier. An unknown world. The cosmic truth is out there waiting for us somewhere. The cosmic truth, huh? I guess there are people looking for the truth in every walk of life. No matter how afraid I am, I'm sure I can manage. If I give in to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep up the fight. One thing's for sure, Mr. Starbuck's passion for space is undeniably the real deal. The victim. The victim, Clay Terran. He was kind of like your protege, wasn't he? Well, it wasn't a big exaggerated deal like Master and Apprentice or anything like that. But Clay did think of me as his mentor. That mentor and the mentor and the protege. What a combination that must have been. With his encouragement, I knew I could get over my fear and go back into space. But now... Clay must have been very encouraging, huh? Yeah, it's funny, really. Whenever I'd hear him shout, "You're fine," I always got the feeling everything really was gonna be just fine. You're fine? Apollo says I'm fine, and you're fine all the time, too. And I always feel encouraged, too, whenever I hear him shout it. Yeah, Clay and Apollo were best buds. They used to come visit the Space Center a lot, ever since they were high school kids. One day out of the blue, Clay even told me he wanted to be my protege. The two hung around the Space Center so much they were like a part of the staff. One time during zero-G training, I started to panic a little bit, and the two of them took turns shouting, "You're fine!" over the radio. It was a simple thing, but it was exactly what I needed to hear. So, "I'm fine and you're fine" were like Apollo and Clay's secret phrases, huh? Wish I could ask Apollo more about Clay and their relationship somehow. Speaking of Clay, how do you suppose he climbed down the ladder with you over his shoulder? Sorry, but I can't even begin to imagine. But he actually did climb down that ladder, so a way has to exist. From the freedom of space to the walls of a cell. But that prosecutor says the dark night sky isn't half bad through the barren windows. You're fine. Solomon's soul Starbuck is fine. Everything is going to be all right. Huh? And Athena Sykes is fine. Come on, Mr. Wright. You too. Do I really have to? Phoenix Wright is fine. I can't hear you. But Phoenix Wright is fine. We'll get you back into space yet, Mr. Starbuck. BRB again. Alrighty, Mafia. No problem. Believe in your own innocence and have faith in us. Apollo believed in you wholeheartedly, and that's good enough for me. I believe in you too. Thank you. Thank you both. Thank you, both of you. I'll put my faith in you. and I vow to make it back into space. All I need first is a not guilty verdict. Sure feels nice to reassure ourselves every now and then that we're all fine. Okay, Mr. Wright. Let's get our investigation into the Space Center started. Pronto. Good idea. Let's go. Well, to the Space Center we go, guys. Ooh. We'll go to space. Wow, I was wondering what kind of place this Space Center would be. It almost looks like an amusement park of the future. Yeah, did you know they even let the public see their rockets up close? Oh, so check it out. Look at how brightly the Gyaxa logo shines in the sunlight above the entranceway. I really dig the stars and rocket motif it's got going. Gyaxa, huh? Isn't that the new name of a federal space R&D program? Yeah, but why the strange acronym? I mean, what is GIA supposed to stand for? Galaxy? If that were it, then the whole thing would be something like Galaxy Exploration Agency. Which, if you ask me, I'd have to abbreviate it to GAXA, or even Gaia. I guess so. Oh, I know. Maybe the person who came up with the name just really likes the letter Y. This exchange is beginning to feel oddly like deja vu. Anyway, this place is more than just a research facility. It's also a tourist attraction. Tourist attraction? Don't make me laugh. It's a monument to the human race. Galactic scooter, full speed ahead. Space. Oh. Well. Yikes. Who's this geezer and what's he want? Look upon me and look well. Behold the great power of space science. Pardon me, but you are? My glorious name is Yuri Cosmos. I am the director of the Cosmos Space Center, the center of the cosmos. Boss, that was pretty groan-inducing. This person is the Space Center's director, then that means... Aha! So you were the one of the first to discover Clay's body, weren't you? Getting bored of space? Oh no. That space is boring. And who was the first to find the victim? Actually, there were two of them. The Space Center director, Yuri Cosmos, and Detective Candace Arm. That is correct. I was honored to be the very first man in all of space and time to discover the body. But let's talk of the incident. Are you by any chance the space police? You can't tack the word space onto just any old thing, you know. We're Mr. Starbuck's lawyers. We're here to investigate his case. When you say you're bored of space, what do you mean, by the way, Stars? Wait, your username is kind of space-like, by the way. Stars. Ooh. Oh, and we're Earth lawyers, by the way. Ah, I see. Yes, I've heard about you. In that case, by my esteemed privilege, I grant you permission to investigate. I trust you are appropriately grateful. Now, go ahead. Have at it. I can already tell he's going to be nothing but trouble. Don't let him hear you say that, or you'll see what trouble really is. Let's just be professional and ask about what he found when he found the body, okay? Alright. Yuri Cosmos. So as director, what do you do here at the Space Center specifically? Defend peace across the galaxy and promote space development in this country. No matter what obstacles stand in our way, we keep going, for the sake of mankind. I believe I used the word specifically in my question. Attention all personnel, to your break stations. Prepare for break. Oh, I get it. You just wander around and tell people what to do in a self-important manner. That is exactly right, because I am an important man. My manner is important. It's from a game. Oh, I gotcha. I see. What's the reference? What's the game? Because maybe I like it. Mr. Wright, this man doesn't get sarcasm. Well, there's bound to be some people like that, here in this boundlessness of space. What's that? You want to know what it is that makes me important, specifically? Very well, I will tell you. I was the essential figure of the Hat 1 project. You may proceed to be appropriately impressed. Now go ahead, have at it. You like this man's mustache? He does have a really cool mustache, I admit. I am fan. I might be more impressed if I knew what he did for it specifically. About the bombing. Captain Ahab here is a funny guy. Hello, Flitchard, I think that's how you say that. Welcome back to the stream. How are you today? Portal 2? Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. One of these days I want to play that game. What did you think of Aristotle Means? He was interesting until he wasn't interesting. He also has a creepy smile. Hoping you finish the game tonight? I don't think I will. There's still this case, the next case, and the DLC case. Not to mention a full other game. His breakdown is amazing. Aristotle Means, yeah, I love his breakdown. But let's keep on going, lads. And welcome back, Mafia Babe. Bathroom detail! That's what he's getting. Boo! Could you tell us what you know about the incident from the other day? I refuse. What? Explaining is a job for common folk, but not the director of the center of the cosmos. He had a smile like he is visiting the dentist. The It Means guy. Oh yeah. Very creepy smile. A testimony which will go down in space history will be heard in the courtroom. What? So does that mean you'll be taking the stand tomorrow? That is correct. I will be the most glorious witness in the history of mankind. I'm not sure if he really understands what being a witness is all about. Looks like Director Cosmos is the type that only talks about what he wants to talk about. Then let's at least try to ask him about the things he might be willing to open up about. Okay. About Het 1. The chat on your phone isn't working. Aw, man. That's annoying. Have a little respect for the local constabulary. He has checked the blood, right? Yep. Very silly. Very, very silly. The Het 1 was a rocket that was launched into space 7 years ago, correct? And despite numerous problems, it somehow made its way back home? I suppose it is part of my job to educate ignorant young folk like you. Very well, I will impart to you the complete story of the Het 1 project. Oh, thank you very much. The cat wants to be on your phone? Aww. Who's a good kitty? Het 1's noble mission was to collect samples from an asteroid, and Mr. Starbuck was the pilot for that flight. Eventually, the Het 1 reached its planned orbit, from where it launched the Hope probe towards the asteroid belt. From there, the Hope probe began its long, lonely journey into the far reaches of space. Then after a terrifying struggle, the Het 1 returned safely to Earth. That struggle was when the incident known as the Het 1 miracle occurred, right? Correct, and it truly was a miracle. Of course they had just had to turn the whole ordeal into a movie. As for the Hope probe, it did eventually arrive safely at its destination. It obtained a few samples from the asteroid and returned to Earth but a few days ago. So what kind of samples are they? What's in them? ... The samples are scheduled for analysis in the near future. We haven't had time since they just came back the day before Terran's murder. Regrettably, they had no time to inspect the samples due to everything that has occurred. Or the Joker being foiled by the little man with fillies in case 2. What's that one again? Sorry, my memory is very bad. Bad memory I has. Melody is a good kitty. Aww, Melody is your cat's name. Very cute. But this puts our space development program ahead of other countries by several years. That's quite impressive. I guess this guy isn't just a loudmouth braggart after all. In the golden age of space development, our predecessors were successfully in bringing a moon rock back. That is the greatest achievement in the history of the Space Center. The public fell in love with space and all of its glorious potential. A moon rock, huh? I remember that being big. Our endeavors with the moon rock live on in our work with those asteroid samples. Oh, LaBelle, gotcha. LaBelle. What a guy. What a ego guy. I want to bestow the new hopes and dreams for the future upon mankind, once and for all.
once again. That is my mission as the man who stands at the center of the cosmos.
I hear there's a lot of research into moon rocks and stardust from asteroids these days. They say the results could potentially have a huge impact on all of civilization. It's like we're in a new space race with every other country out there.
What? Bite your tongue. It's not for anything so base as money or politics. It's all for the brilliant future that awaits mankind and all for my illustrious mission.
Will you stroke that rose?
Oh yeah. With the recent budget cuts, my staff tells me finances are tight, but I won't hear it.
I guess even a space program has to watch its budget. By the way, you seem awfully knowledgeable about this kind of thing, Athena. Huh? Oh, well, you know, I thought I'd better brush up for the case.
Is that so? Well, I will be on my way. As you can see, I am a very busy person, and I am a very busy and I'm a very important man. Galactic scooter, fire up the main engine, max battle speed, and engage!
That thing is surprisingly fast. I guess we'd better get going too.
You bet. Let's make it so. Let's make it so, number one.
To the boarding lounge.
Ooh, look at this place.
Would anyone want to be in that chair up there? Just spinning around? So this is where Mr. Terran was murdered. Yeah, this is the lounge. Let's see that diagram the police made again. Right now we're in the main building here on the right side, on the 3rd floor. Clay and Mr. Starbuck fled here from Launch Pad 1 after the explosion.
You there, no one admittance without express permission.
We're Mr. Starbuck's lawyers. We've come to investigate.
Sorry, nobody gets in without permission, not even the police and superintendent. Have Detective Fulbright getting mad at me.
So Detective Fulbright is here, huh?
Yeah, he's in the launch pad 1 corridor. Go get clearance from him and then we'll talk.
Leave it to me. I'm great at getting intel out of Detective Fulbright. Let's see. What trick should I use on him today? I don't know if I should be grateful or afraid. So, to get to the Launchpad 1 corridor, we just have to go through that door with the blue rocket on it, I think. Did you see a giant seahorse drifting through the background? I think you did. I don't know what that is, but I think you did see that. Wait, that door? It looks awfully familiar. Good eye there, boss. This is the door Clay and Mr. Starbuck used during their escape from the launch pad. Ah, that explains it. The fingerprint system has been deactivated, so I think we can just pass through. Now come on, let's go! Let's go! Ooh, there's a robot. Look at that robot over there. So this is it, huh? This is the corridor the two of them used in their escape. Yep, this is the only thing connecting Launchpad 1 with the main building. I see police tape down at the other end. Guess we won't be looking at the launch pad. After the explosion, the whole corridor must have been filled with smoke, and the launch pad itself was probably a sea of flames. Must have been pretty scary for them. Now, where could Detective Fulbright be? Hey, I think that's him over there.
What should I do? Which path is the path of justice?
He's a robot. Yep, that's a robot back there. He seems to be lost. That's funny. This corridor is a straight shot.
Huh? Ah, it's you lawyer people. Welcome to the Space Center. Enjoying a relaxing day off, are you? Here for a little rocket sightseeing?
We're here investigating the scene, same as you. Do you have any info to share? Boss, if he acts at all reluctant to give us information, we hit him with the whatever shall we do act, and I'm sure he'll fall for it. Got it. Are we trying to catch this unruly family dog here or something?
Info on the case, huh? Alright, I'll gladly share some with you.
Huh? What just happened?
Detectives and lawyers seeking truth and justice side by side. I like it. Just take whatever you want from me, you info bandits. I'm in a generous mood today.
I dunno. There's something weird about Detective Fulbright today. Well, we need information, so let's run with it. You say so.
Alright, give me your informations.
which is the path of justice, whatever path Apollo took. Exactly, that's where all of the justices goes. On Apollo's path. Hee. Detective Fulbright, could you give us permission to investigate the crime scene? No! There's an officer on guard and we can't get in. Oh, whatever shall we do? And now you're sleepy? Good night, stars over Hyrule! I'll see you tomorrow for more Skyrim and other games. But yeah, take care. Have a good one, alright? Thanks for stopping by, as always. That's an easy one. I'll let them know over there to let you in. Investigate to your heart's content. Take a week if you need it. A month even. Shall I have some snacks delivered? One of my men gives a mean neck rub. No, that's okay, but thanks. It's been fun. I'm glad you like game. Definitely not the Fulbright I know. Detective Fulbright is actually sickeningly sweet. It's kind of gross, actually. Do you think he hit his head or something? Who knows? Whatever the case, it's making our lives way easier. You were here at the Space Center at the time of the incident, weren't you, Detective? That's right, I was here on a security assignment. The police are required to secure rocket launches now. I didn't know that. Yes, well, you know us, to serve and protect. Ha 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 ha. The explosions occurred while I was here on duty, so I started leading the evacuation. He's leaving out a lot of details, but okay. Could you tell us more about what happened? Of course, a bomb went off at the second floor of the main building. Right after that, the one over in Launchpad 1 also blew sky high. So I immediately instructed the visitors and the employees to evacuate to the shelter. The shelter? That's right, there's an evacuation shelter in the basement of the Space Center. It's there for accidents and emergencies and the like. So, where were you when the first bomb went off? I was on duty on the 4th floor. It was quite the madhouse, I tell you. The elevator wasn't working on account of the explosion. And the stairs on the 2nd floor were destroyed, so we couldn't go that way. Wasn't it impossible to get down to the basement shelter? No, we lowered an emergency ladder from a 4th floor window and escaped that way. It was a folding ladder, so it wasn't very stable, but at least it reached the ground. Don't you mean a step ladder? Or a normal ladder? After I secured the ladder, I left to take another look around for any other survivors. Once everyone else got out safely, I made my way down too, and headed to the shelter. Wow, what an ordeal. But climbing down an emergency ladder kinda sounds fun. Thank you for your answers, Detective. They were very helpful. Just a moment, I have some more information to share with you. But don't tell Prosecutor Blackwell, okay? Wow, and Prosecutor Blackwell usually has you on a short leash too. Well, never mind that. Haha, I thought you should know that there was a witness. Could you tell us more about this witness? Sure thing. The witness was a Space Center employee who was on the 4th floor. While she was climbing down, she looked through a window into the 3rd floor lounge. So, she was looking into the crime scene from the outside? That's right, it was just a matter of chance that she saw something important. Not that I know what she saw exactly yet, though. You don't? But that's the most important thing of all. Don't you worry, I'll get around to interviewing her soon enough. She should still be somewhere here in the Space Center. You might even run into her. A 4th floor employee, huh? Alright, thanks for the info, Detective Fulbright. Gee, you sure are being cooperative, Detective. A little too cooperative, even. Yes, well, actually, something you can't talk about? Yes, something like that. Anyway, never mind. Don't worry about me. Well, I'll be on my way now. What was that all about? Something is definitely going on. I'm going to get it out of him next time I see him. Okay. I'm not so sure he'll talk about it, though. Well, we have permission to investigate now. Let's head back to the boarding lounge. Okay. Boarding lounge. Board lounge. Ah, you two. Detective Fulbright has granted you permission to investigate. Professor said I should bring you some snacks or give you a neck rub too, if you like. Oh, that's alright, but thank you for the offer. Well, time to roll up our sleeves and start investigating. Let's see. where's that diagram again? So the lounge is on the 3rd floor of the main building, and according to Apollo, this is where he believes a third party killed his friend. Well, let's just stop the recap and start looking for traces of this third person then. You read my mind, Athena. We'll make that our first priority. There's just one problem though. This room. It's just so big. Don't worry. We can use this to help us. A Space Center pamphlet for tourists? Yep, picked it up at the entrance. This map's inside should come in handy. Let's see. Yep, here it is. A map of the lounge. This is the door we went through to talk to Detective Fulbright. Oh yeah, that's the door with the fingerprint recognition lock. Well, I guess this map will make things a little easier. Cool. Yeah, no more excuses. Let's track down the third person. Wait, there's just one more thing. What's that strange creature moving around outside the window? Oh, boss, it's just a holographic image. Oh yeah, I knew that. Whoa, that's a relief. There should be a button somewhere in this room to turn the image on and off. That's what it says in the pamphlet anyway. The only reason you're so eager to start is so that you can push that button, right? And what's wrong with that? Let's just look for a button while we're looking for clues. Alright, fine, let's get investigating. Let's investigate. Does anyone see a button? Like this one. That's some pretty futuristic looking furniture over there. According to the pamphlet, those are no ordinary chairs. They're like amusement park teacup rides. You can power them yourself, it says. If you spin the table, your chair spins too. Why would anybody want to have something like that here? It's for astronauts who have trouble with the device on the ceiling. No vertical spins. It says it's a training device that's easy on the eyes and in the body. Can a person really call themselves an astronaut if they can't handle 0G? How can I get this in my room, guys? These chairs. At first glance, it looks like a peaceful landscape, but then there's that creature. Didn't that Hope probe go to some planet? Maybe this is what its surface looks like. I don't know. I think it would make the news if they discovered a creature like that. It did make quite a bit of news, though, when the probe came back. Yeah, but the Hope's probe didn't even go to a planet. It went to an asteroid. That's a big rock kind of thing. Even aliens can't live there. The chairs look comfy. I know, and they spin. I want to spin. No matter how I look at it, all I can think of is torture device. But I guess it's a training device for getting used to zero gravity. Uh-oh, Athena has an odd glint in her eye. Is she thinking about trying that thing out? I should try to stop her, but I'm afraid she'll just outmuscle me. Hey, Mr. Wright, look at that up there. Some kind of fragment? It's stuck in tight. Oh, so that's what the glint was all about. That color looks familiar. I think it's part of an oxygen tank. I think you're right, but if that's here, it means Clay's tank ruptured after they arrived at the boarding lounge. So, Prosecutor Blackquill's theory that Mr. Starbug dropped Clay down the ladder must be wrong. This proves that both of the astronauts were alive when they reached the boarding lounge. So, Apollo was right. The scene of the murder wasn't the launch pad. Hee hee. Way to go, Apollo. Way to flippin' go. A window, and it's right next to the holographic image, too. But it's here to help people see the stark contrast between reality and virtual reality. Way off. It says emergency ventilation. You know, to clear smoke from a fire. See? It's pointing out the virtual insanity of reality. Sure. So it looks like there are 3 doors that lead in and out of this room. Well, let's check. Drum roll, please. Ta-da! The Space Center pamphlet. We're here at the place that says Boarding Lounge 1. Here are the 3 doors. Let's call them Lefty, Righty, and Downy. People usually say West, East, and South, but in a case like this, you know. Details. Anyway, take a look at the West door. That door with the rocket icon leads to Launchpad 1. I know because it says here on the map Launchpad 1 corridor. So that's where we were with the detective. It was filled with smoke after the explosion. Right, next up, the right-hand side of the map, or east in your world. That's the door with the satellite dish icon to signify communication, aka the control room. Yep, it definitely says control room. Looks like it has another door on the opposite end. They communicate and exchange information with rockets and probes in space from here. So it's the center of the Space Center. The Space Center, if you will. Does everybody start to talk like Director Cosmos after they've been here a while? But it seems they built a new command center on the 6th floor. That's what they used for the Hat 2 mission. So this control room was empty at the time. I've always wanted to see the inside of a mission control room, and since we're here, I'd love to do that too. But it doesn't look like we'll be able to. They want to keep curious kids like you out. So the door is protected with fingerprint recognition only the director can go through. With that much security, I'm definitely not the one they're looking for to keep out Athena. So apparently the lock is also hooked up to a backup generator in case of emergencies. Okay. Okay, what about that last door? This lower door... Oh, excuse me, I mean south door, that leads to the elevators. This is the door we came through when we entered this room, right? Yep, and of course, there were no fingerprint recognition device, so it's open to anyone, but the elevators weren't working at the time due to the explosion. Well, that's about it for the 3 muscadors of the boarding lounge. Thanks, understanding the layout of the lounge should help us understand the case. That's why I thought we'd better have a good grasp of where all the doors go. Okay. Is that it here? I think it is. Now let's investigate the here. Let's see. This door is... Where's that pamphlet? Here we are. It's the door to the corridor that leads to Launchpad 1. We went through it earlier when we went to talk to Detective Fulbright, so I guess the security lock must be disengaged now. They say the corridor was filled with smoke at the time of the bombing. This thing besides the door, this must be the fingerprint recognition device. Which reminds me, I think Prosecutor Blackwell talked about it at the trial. The notion of a third party in Launchpad 1 is utterly absurd. Just to enter the area from the lounge, one must pass through a door guarded by a fingerprint recognition device. And allow me to state up front that there are precious few with the clearance to do so. And does this mean that the bomber's prints were verified by the system? But the number of authorized personnel was supposed to be really small. Voila! Fingerprint powder! I brought it just in case something like this came up. I found it at the office. I've been just itching for a chance to use it. Well, way to think ahead. Let's dust the fingerprint recognition device and see what we can find. You got it. I'll just sprinkle some here and a little over there. And... whoop! Let's see what we have here. Oh, we got something. Aw, it's only a single set of prints. Isn't that a good thing? Sure wish we could figure out whose prints these are. Although I doubt we'll be so lucky as to get the culprit's prints on the first try. While I'm willing to bet that Detective Fulbright has some fingerprint data. Right, and there's the security footage of this door too. Yes, here it is. It came up in court the other day. I wish we could see the part of the footage just after this bit. Oh, because that would be right before the murder, wouldn't it? Let's ask the detective. With the mood he's in, he'll probably show it to us right away. Yeah, he's almost too good of a mood today. Let's go see if we can find him again once we're done with this room. Okay. So this is the fingerprint recognition device. Guess you put your hand on this hand mark. Why, guess when you can try. Now to line up my hand up with the outline. Don't, Athena, this thing is related to the case. Get your prints all over that, and the next thing you know, you'll be named a suspect. Well, how could you be so cruel to a little girl like me? Sniff, sob. I'm not buying those tears, Missy. What's this now? I wonder what this big knob is for. It looks like the knob on a stove. Well, it's the same shape, but I think that's where the similarities end. I mean, it's behind a glass pane. What kind of stove would require knob security like this? Well, the knob is straight up and down, so if it was for a stove, the burner would be off. Right, if it was for a stove. Still, wonder what it's really for. Something turned on by a knob that's not a stove. How about a rocket engine? If you had to start the engine here, the rocket would take off before you could get in. And I guess all we can say for now is that it's a mystery knob. Yeah. Mystery knob. Wow, look at this thing here. Here's another amazing piece of equipment. Walk on the surface of the moon, it says. Oh boy, I want to try it. Gravity is weak on the moon, so I bet I could do mid-air somersaults. We're still on Earth, remember? Besides, it's connected to the ceiling. Well, at least I could jump really high. There's a sign on the wall that very clearly says don't jump too high. Then what good is this thing? Didn't I say at the beginning walk on the surface of the moon? You big dupe. What's this? A trapdoor? It's a trash chute. The cleaning robots throw the garbage out from here. The robots do the cleaning? What a futuristic world we live in. I just hope they don't revolt like they do in science fiction movies. No way, all the robots here are very nice. Actually, wasn't there one in the Launchpad 1 corridor? You could go say hi to it if you want. Warning. Danger. Ah, what do we have here? A sparkly. Hey, I see something shiny down there. Let's take the cover off then. What's this? It looks like a metal jelly bean. It's really small, but it's a bullet. It's only about 2 to 3 millimeters in diameter. Let's see. That would make the caliber 10 or .10. Caliber refers to the diameters of a gun's barrel, right? Yes, but I've never heard of a .10 caliber gun before. This bullet must be for a special kind of gun. But if you tried firing a bullet this small with a regular sized gun, it would just fall right out. Yeah, it must have been a really small gun. Wonder how the bullet ended up here. I mean, we're in the bottom left on the south door side of the room, according to this map. That's pretty far from where Clay's body was. Maybe the police didn't think to look here. Yeah, leave it to Detective Fulbright to accidentally just hand us just the card we need. Are you losing? Shockingly, no. I'm investigating. So, that'll show ya. How you doing though, Hellfire Skyrim? How was your strange randomizer run of Castlevania? I guess that's it for that. What about the body? So this is where they discovered Clay. Yeah, he was already dead when they found him. Let's take a look at the photo. So he was stretched out like this and... Huh? What's that thing? What's that thing that looks like a thermos? It was good and you missed the best part of it? Aw, what was the best part? What did Dracula turn into? That's the thing that Prosecutor Blackwell mentioned when I was in court with Apollo. He said that it contains asteroid samples. Oh right, Director Cosmos mentioned something about that too, didn't he? That they were brought back only 5 days ago by the probe that the Hat 1 launched. I wonder... what they look like. Do you think they'll let us see? When Dracula's last words were thick steak. What the heck, Dracula? Can't say that about, what's her name, Shinoa? You weirdo. Let's think about that after we've solved the case, okay? Yeah, let's think about that. Anything else? Like, this? Those are apparently oxygen capsules. They're for recovery after a training session. I wonder if they can change your voice. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Huh? It didn't do a thing. It's not helium, Athena. It's oxygen. Wait a minute. What's this? There's some kind of panel with 2 buttons on it here. Just push it. That's the invariable principle of buttons. There are such things as buttons left unpushed. Aha! Hey, the giant holographic image disappeared. Yeah, though that side of the wall seems kind of barren without it now. Still, let's see if we can't find anything new with the image off. Something new with the image off. With those holographic image off, the screen is completely black, which for some reason makes me think of losing an argument to Prosecutor Blackwell in court.
But at least it got my brain revved up. I come up with the best ideas at times like these. Yeah.
Ah, what do we have here? A spider web. The spider web that never vanished. Hey, Mr. Wright, take a look at this. Looks like a bullet hole. Great find, Athena. It's pretty big. Whoever fired this shot must have been using a pretty large gun. You think so? Based on my experience, I'd say this was fired from a regular pistol. Well, whatever size it was, somebody fired a gun in here, right? Apparently. This is an important fact. Do you see a bullet around somewhere? No, the police might have taken it, though.
We have the bullet.
Maybe. Let's Detective Fulbright about this bullet hole later.
Welcome to the Space Center, guests. Welcome.
Yikes, what in the world?
My name is Punko. P-O-N-C-O. Punko! Are you sightseeing? Are you lost? Are you looking around? Choose one. I will guide you.
It's a robot?
I am not a robot. I am Punko. Psychological observation and navigation companion. P-O-N-C-O. Punko.
Well, I'm glad we got that cleared up. Oh, Punko, I've missed you. Huh? Do you know this thing, Athena? Oh, she, showed us around the last time when I came here with Apollo. Oh, you're such a good girl, Punko. That's a good girl.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. I'm so happy. So very happy.
Wow, a guide robot. That's pretty cool. My name is Phoenix Wright. Nice to meet you.
I don't know you. I don't know you.
Huh? Ouch, that hurt. Oh, she has to register people she meets for the first time. Please register him, Punko.
Certainly. Commencing guest registration. Please tell me your name. A nickname is fine too.
His name is Phoenix. A bit overly similar, but I'll allow it.
Phoenix, please let me get a good look at your face.
Oh, sure.
Registering. Facial registration sequence complete. We are now officially friends. Nice to meet you, Phoenix.
Huh? This robot is pretty cute.
You made a friend, boss. Isn't it great? Phoenix, Athena, allow me to guide you right this way.
Oh, goody. Let's go, boss. Go where? Yep. This is what's happening now, guys. This is now what's happening. Robots. Whoa. Oh, wow. What is this place? Is that rocket real?
Welcome, welcome. The Space Museum is open to the public every day of the year from 9 a.m. to 7 p.m. Learn about the history of our nation's space development and the Hat 1 project. The rocket is just a replica, but it's the same size as the real one.
The Space Museum. Oh, here it is on the map. Okay, so it's on the exact opposite side of the main building from Launchpad 1. Cool.
Ask me anything, I will explain.
Okay. This is quite the place. I can't believe we get to see a rocket this close up.
This is a replica of the Hat 1 that was launched 7 years ago. It's exactly like the real Hat 1 inside and out. Its little brother, the Hat 2, was supposed to launch the other day.
I wonder if Punko knows why the launch was cancelled.
Over there is an exhibit about the launch 7 years ago. Check it out, check it out.
Spacesuits, photos, newspaper articles. I like to come here again on a day off. Hey, what's this a photo of?
Phoenix, that's the staff of the Hat 1 project.
Oh, there's Mr. Starbuck. He looks so young and so different.
And that's...
What is it, Athena? Is something wrong?
Oh, nothing.
I just thought Mr. Starbuck looked really young too, that's all. Well, it was 7 years ago after all. So the young guy standing next to Mr. Starbuck is Clay Terran, the victim. So they were mentor and protege even way back then. He's even got one of the staff jackets. He looks just like a regular staff member.
No, Clay was still a student then. He just borrowed one of Solomon's old jackets. Ah, okay, that makes sense. Clay would have still been in high school 7 years ago. Everybody looks so happy. This space museum is great. What fantastic exhibits! This area used to be Launchpad 2. That's why the only entrance is on the 3rd floor. Wouldn't it be better if they just made a new ground floor entrance instead? There was talk of it, but they had to scrap their plans because of the budget cuts. Budget cuts, budget cuts. We need more money. Money! Who would record that kind of information into a guide robot? While it was in space, the Hat One launched a probe called Hope. The Hope probe collected some samples from an asteroid and returned 5 days ago. That's what Director Cosmo said too. He told us it came back the day before Clay was killed. And here it is, the Hope space probe. I think I've seen that logo somewhere before. Let's see. Oh yeah, the capsule that the victim was carrying. I think it has the same logo. I think it can be seen in the photo attached to the autopsy report. Maybe she'll give me some more info if I show it to her. The way the Space Center launchpad is set up is really cool. Would you like me to tell you about it? Would you? The setup of the launchpad. Go gentle on my spiky-haired mind. I want to know. I want to know. Phoenix wants to know too.
Great. Now Athena's got a case of ponchoitis.
Hooray! I will tell you then. The rocket is built right inside the launchpad structure. When the rocket is complete, it's moved along with the launchpad over the rails.
That's cool.
And brought into position at the launch site. Isn't it cool? Isn't it? We used to have a big budget, so that's how we could build it all.
It's very cool. A grand setup that suits an important place like the Space Center.
I guess everyone is hoping for a bigger budget next year, myself included. I'm guessing the whole thing is operated from the control room, huh? That it is, but it can also be operated from the new command center too. Either way, the safety lock in the boarding lounge has to first be disengaged. I guess before a big move like that can be carried out, there are all kinds of procedures.
I would love to see the launch pad being moved. When's the next one scheduled for?
Searching data. All further future plans have been put on hold.
Because of the bombing and the murder, I'll bet. Which is perfectly understandable.
Well, when was the last time it was moved? Searching data. I'm sorry, that answer isn't in my answer database. I guess Ponko can only answer certain questions. Psst. What am I showing, Ponko again? I already forgot.
The autopsy report.
Ponko, you recognize this capsule here in the top right? Checking register data. I know. It's the Hope capsule. It was carried inside the Hope probe.
It contained the asteroid samples, right?
Yes, it was designed to store the samples gathered by the Hope probe. It's been stored in the safe in Launchpad 1 ever since it returned to Earth.
It must not be removed.
Don't worry, Ponko. The people in charge already know what happened. They do? I must ask them later.
So the capsule was being kept in Launchpad 1, huh?
Maybe Clay was trying to carry it to safety after the explosion. The Space Center staff must have been really excited to finally get the capsule back, but it's a pity this incident occurred before they got a chance to check its contents. Well, the police took it as evidence, so they'll have to wait a little longer. Well, we certainly learned a lot about the Space Museum. Thank you, Ponko. You explained everything very well. I love to explain. Thank you for listening. Thank you. You two are like old friends. It's hard to believe you just met recently. Hee, it's because Ponko is so friendly. Well, what should we investigate next?
Let's go find Detective Fulbright. We have things to ask him about.
Let's see, the security footage and the fingerprint data, was it? Okay, then let's go back to the Launchpad 1 corridor. Bye, Ponko. See you later. Come again, and don't forget to visit the gift shop.
Poor Ponko.
What a Dickensian life we are all forced to lead.
What? What do y'all think of Ponko?
sentient space robot. Maybe sentient? Who knows? Maybe alive? What should I do? Which path is the path of justice?
There's Detective Fulbright. He still seems to be lost, even though it's a straight corridor. Let's hope he's still in a cooperative mood as well, then.
If he doesn't cooperate, then I'll just have to use my powers on him. You mean that lady in distress bit? We found a bullet hole in the wall at the crime scene. You did? Our team found that too. It was Detective Arm who fired that bullet. Detective Arm? That's right, a warning shot for the defendant. Was it really such a high-threat situation that she needed to do that? I'm afraid I don't know the details, what with Detective Arm gone and all.
But I thought there were two people who discovered the crime scene together.
We already know Director Cosmos will testify, so tomorrow will be about what he knows. Hey, you're pretty smart. That's exactly what we're planning to serve as the main course. Hope it goes down easy. Ponko is adorable. I know. Ponko's a good one. A good robot.
Detective, we'd like to run a comparison on some prints we found in the boarding lounge.
Ah, yes, I just happen to have compiled the print data of everyone related to this case. I can always make another copy for myself, so it's all yours. Consider it a gift. This is quite a bit of data. Well, when I said everyone, I meant it. Prosecutor Blackwell said to dig deep, so that's what I did. It sure took a while, though. Whoa, he got Apollos in my prints? Even got prints for all of the robots. I guess when Blackwell says to dig deep, Fulbright didn't bother to ask how deep. Ah, Clay's fingerprints are here too. I personally removed his glove during the investigation. We had to get his fingerprints to confirm his identity after all.
I still can't believe you took off his glove to get his fingerprints.
Yeah, well, you can't blame me for thinking they're important in this case. There are a lot of doors that require fingerprint verification in the lounge, so depending on whose prints we find, it can completely change the tide for both sides.
Makes sense. After all, the culprit's prints did get them past the fingerprint lock somehow.
Oh, and take this picture. It might come in handy.
Isn't this just a photo of the Launchpad 1 door?
Yep, but Prosecutor Blackwell seemed really interested in it for some reason.
Huh? What's so important about this door?
Beats me, but boy, could you see the gears in his head go into hyperdrive in it.
It's like this is going to be a major point of contention tomorrow. Hey, don't forget about the print comparison, boss.
Right. Detective Fulbright, do you think you could run the test for us right now? You just leave it to me. In justice we trust.
Only problem is Justice isn't here right now.
Okay, here we go. Well, it looks like it was Mr. Starbuck who opened that security door.
Must have opened it when they went to go board the rocket. His heart must have been full of hopes and dreams for his space adventure right then.
Alright, I'm guessing we're presenting things now. Something for the lost and found? I'll be sure to take care of it. No, this is an important piece of evidence. How can a bullet hole be placed in the lost and found? Alright, let's do some presenting. Just in case there's more. Detective, about the security footage that was taken by the Boarding Lounge 1 camera? Oh, that footage? Go ahead and ask me anything you'd like about it. Is there a way I could see a little more of the part just after this? Easy as pie, I'd be glad to show you. Here we go. Huh? The screen went blank. Yes, apparently the after effects of the explosion damaged the wires, so there's no footage after this point. Ha ha ha. Why didn't you just say so from this beginning? Well, something definitely seems to be up with you, Detective. You're unusually cooperative. Well, I just figured if we work together we'll get that much closer to justice, right? But it seems like something's really been bothering you. You don't have some ulterior motive, do you? Hang on a minute.
What? I don't know what you're talking about. I would never do anything like that. Oh. Oh, gosh. They're back. It's been a while, but those are definitely Psyche locks. I've confirmed it, by the way, guys. It's not Psych locks, it's Psyche locks. As I thought it was. Did you just mouth psyched? Is there something I should be psyched about? No, Psyche locks. It's a system of locks on the secrets to a person's heart. I can see when people are trying to hide those secrets by using the power of this Magatama. Presenting evidence can break those locks, and reveal any secrets they're hiding. But Mr. Wright, how much did they bilk you out for that piece of rock? If you've been swindled, I know some lawyers I can introduce you to. I'm more than capable of representing myself, thank you very much. It isn't some kind of fraud, it really works. A friend gave it to me a long time ago. Tell us about that friend, Phoenix. Tell us! But I guess seeing is believing. Allow me to show you. Let's see what presenting this Magatama X will reveal, shall we? Yep, the Psyche locks are back once again, guys, for this game.
Take that!
Why you're being cooperative? I think you're hiding something, Detective, so why don't you just tell us about it? What to do? Which path is the path of justice? Detective Fulbright is really in agony. I bet this is the issue he's so torn up over. Justice. Bobby Fulbright, our secret word is justice. Yes, he is. I really understand what's been bothering you, Detective, I truly do. Something happened that goes against your principles, isn't that right? No, I don't know what you're talking about. Until the explosions occurred, everything was just fine. Is that a fact? Yup, peaceful as peaceful can be. Everyone whistling a happy tune as they did their job. You never saw a more relaxed guard detail for a routine rocket launch. I don't think a guard detail was as relaxed as you claim, as long as this exists. Yeah, I forgot completely. I have no idea. This, maybe?
Take that!
There must be something wrong with my sunglasses today. You're presenting that to me as evidence, are you? Is he making fun of me? In justice we trust. Speaking of injustice we trust, I'm going to go to the guide now. Because I don't remember. Okay. This one. Police officers. Okay.
Take that!
Before the explosions, what was supposed to happen here was a rocket launch, and yet security was so tight they even brought in a special task force. I'd hardly describe that as a relaxed guard detail. Yay! No, hold on just one moment. The entire nation had their eyes on this extremely important rocket launch. That's why I was called in on a special security detail. As versatile as you are, I can certainly believe that's true. But I say it's very strange that this person would be part of that detail from the outset. This person, apparently.
Take that!
Detective Arms specialize in bomb cases. The fact that she was here on hand means that you people knew there was the possibility that a bombing would occur. You got me, Mr. Wright. Yay! In justice we unlock locks or something. Right. What you can't say. Alright, I concede. You win. It's just as you say. A few days before the launch, they were warned about a potential bombing. But the plan to launch went ahead in spite of the threat. Will that be allowed? Launching in spite of a bomb warning? But why? What were they planning to do if someone got hurt or killed? Yeah, I know. The decision to move forward wasn't exactly just, was it? How was the warning delivered? By phone and directly to Director Cosmos. but the police department instructed everybody to keep it under wraps.
That's a big thing to keep quiet about.
No wonder you were so upset. But it's not only that, I've been distraught about Prosecutor Blackwell as well.
Prosecutor Blackwell? What? Well, as his handler, I'm sure you have a lot of difficulties.
They'd never risk it. If this were the real world, they would never risk it. That's not it. It's a question of justice. I've been wondering about why he's allowed to stand in court.
The reason he's still prosecuting? Detective Fulbright, please tell us everything you know.
Yeah, what's going on here about, Mr. Person?
Well, talking to you folks about it would definitely be breaking the rules. Never mind that. What are rules but things to be broken, right? Well, to tell you the truth, having a prisoner act as a prosecutor is highly irregular.
I think we guessed that much.
So why is it being allowed? I've been wondering and wondering about it.
So you weren't told why either, huh?
No, I guess the order came from pretty high up the ladder.
Yeah, it would had to have.
But Prosecutor Blackwell told me once... The haunt I've been on for the phantom of 7 years past continues even still.
7 years past?
A phantom, huh? And not one of the friendly varieties either, I gather.
Hunted for 7 years.
This phantom of 7 years past, any idea who or what he was talking about? Not a clue. But he seems to think that this phantom is behind this whole incident somehow.
But wait a minute. He thinks they may be connected to this case?
Yep, this case has way too many similarities to what happened 7 years ago. For starters, that case happened right here at this very space center too. And in both incidents, a threat was issued via telephone.
So that's why Prosecutor Blackwell thinks this incident is the work of the Phantom?
Well, that's not the entire reason. I mean, if you want to talk about 7 years ago... That's when Prosecutor Blackwell was found guilty of murder. That messy case is what started the whole dark age of the law. So you see how this Phantom and Prosecutor Blackwell's conviction might be related?
Yeah, I can see why he'd think that.
This incident and the Phantom, not to mention Blackwell's past, it's almost inconceivable that they would come to a head here.
This might sound crazy, but Prosecutor Blackwell can't possibly believe Mr. Starbuck is the Phantom person, right? I mean, he was acting kind of strange during the last trial and all.
The prosecution appears to be ready as well. Not yet. I'm not quite ready yet.
Gah!
No, I doubt he thinks Mr. Starbuck is his Phantom, but I do get the feeling that he thinks the defendant has ties to them, which is why he's acting so impatient. He's got a personal grudge against Mr. Starbuck, and that's not real justice. I have always trusted in Prosecutor Blackwell's judgment until now, but this time, I'm just so overwrought about it all. If he's lost his ability to think rationally, I'm afraid it might lead to a false conviction.
Never seen Detective Fulbright so tormented. This must be why he's been so cooperative.
Don't worry, that's exactly what we defense lawyers are working to prevent. I feel bad for Prosecutor Blackwell, but I'm going to be rooting for your team this time. But don't tell him that. You have to promise me you won't.
Detective Fulbright,
I guess I was wrong about you. I swore to reform Prosecutor Blackwell and make him a valued member of society again. So I can't just sit by and watch him give in to his emotions and tear the defendant apart. You are the only ones who can stop him in court.
You really care and want what's best for Prosecutor Blackwell, don't you?
Leave the courtroom to us. It's not like we want a guilty verdict either. I was hoping you would say that. I'm really grateful to the two of you. To show my thanks, I'll give you another bit of information. It's about the eyewitness. I saw her hanging around the Space Center entrance a little while ago.
Really? Then let's go find her, Mr. Wright.
Thanks, you two. I feel a lot better now that I've been able to get that off my chest. I'm going to work extra hard to find that perfect piece of evidence for you. In justice we trust. On three. On 1, 2, 3. In justice we trust. Okay, later. There he goes. Wait, were we supposed to say in justice we trust back there too? Let's go see that witness now. Alright, the Space Center entrance it is. The witness must be around here somewhere.
Hello, hello.
Uh-oh. Don't tell me the witness is a robot.
Hello, come over here. Hello, hello. Are you sightseeing? Are you lost? Are you... I am Clanko. Shall I guide you? Guide you? I don't know why, but this robot is kind of freaking me out.
Hey, not supposed to be wandering around. Whoa. Who's this lady now? Again? I've had it with you, you hunk of junk.
Gah. I'm outside. Am I wandering? When did that happen?
Okay, welcome back, hunk of junk. You don't know how close you came. If you didn't snap out of it, I was going to put you on the curb on trash day. Nothing works better than a 42.5 degree karate chop. That's pretty specific. Excuse me, but are you the one who witnessed the murder? Oh, and I'm Phoenix Wright, the lead attorney for this case. How do you do?
Big shot lawyers, huh? I'm Aura Blackwell. I'm a researcher developing robots here at the Cosmos Space Center.
Blackwell? Could she be?
And this good-for-nothing robot is named Hunka Junk. My name isn't Hunka Junk. My name is Clanko. That's me, Miss Aura.
Quit complaining. Your model number is Ponko 2.
Gah, but Miss Aura, everyone calls me Clanko.
Quit your squawking already.
No, what are you doing? No, don't.
There. I bet you won't be talking back now.
Gah, I will obey completely.
Yikes, I better watch what wires I cross with this one.
Your last name.
Your last name is Blackwell. Do you have a relative in the legal profession?
You are correct. Simon Blackwell, who used to be a prosecutor, is...
Shut up. Only speak when I order you to speak. Simon is my little brother.
You know him?
Yes, we met him in court a few times. Right, Athena?
What a dull creature. Has her switch been turned off?
Athena being shy? This is new.
Oh yeah,
I heard he was prosecuting again, despite being a prisoner. Why doesn't he just stick to solving disputes among inmates in prison, right? Hey, what do you think, hunk of junk?
Gah, Miss Aura, that hurts.
I'm asking you a question. Why do you answer me? Or why don't you answer me, useless hunk of junk?
But Miss Aura, you told me to only speak when you order me to speak.
I told you to never talk back to me. You're worth more than a scrap. Robot abuse, hawk attacks. Blackwell family life must sure be interesting. Well, do you have any other questions? Wait, of course you do. You're a lawyer. It's not like I'm on Simon's side or anything. I just want to get this over with. Ooh, what a strange person she is, huh? So, you're the person who witnessed the incident?
That's right. I was on the 4th floor of the main building, in the robotics lab.
The explosion disabled the elevators, so I lowered my emergency ladder like the detective leading the evacuation told me to. But it was such a pain. Why couldn't they have used the ladders on the other rooms? Must have been a very troubling experience. Probably best to just humor her here. Then as I passed by the 3rd floor's boarding lounge 1 window, on my way down, I saw the crime as it happened. And that's about it. So you saw the crime as it happened, and that's about it? I see. Wait, what? You saw it being committed? This is no time to just nod and repeat. So you saw into the 3rd floor lounge. The very scene of the crime. That's right. There's a small window on the right hand side of the room. I looked through that from the outside. Oh, The room was pitch black, but I saw a shady figure holding a lighter in their left hand, and a knife in their right. That must have been the culprit. Did you see who that person was? Of course not. The power was out on that floor then, and there was only that tiny window. I see, but you did witness the moment of the murder. Yes, I saw the figure with the lighter raise their knife and... It happened at precisely 10 a.m. Did you witness anything else? Did the killer have any distinguishing features? I already told you, it was pitch black in there. Although, I did notice that the lighter the person had in their left hand had a pretty ornament on it. Looked like a planet. It was blue, like a little Earth emblem. They had good taste in knickknacks anyway. An Earth emblem on the lighter. I better remember that. Thank you for your statement. We'll definitely prove Mr. Starbuck's innocence with it. Yeah, right. I won't hold my breath. Pardon me? Oh, did I hurt your feelings? Sorry. I just detest lawyers. That's all. Why? What don't you like about lawyers? It's just an instinctive dislike. But don't feel bad. I hate prosecutors even more. That didn't make me feel any better, actually. Why do you hate lawyers? Why do you hate lawyers so much? Little thing from my past. The whole legal system is meaningless in the first place. I certainly don't agree. I mean, people are imperfect. They lie. They're influenced by silly emotions. You can't expect such imperfect creatures to uphold a reasonable system of law. I like robots much better, even sad sacks like this one. Hey, you! Look alive there! Gah! Yes, here I go! I'm the ultimate robot with amazing and operating vacuum and extremely on-road robot to the world now. Time to rid of... Alright, that's enough out of you. You're getting a little too carried away. Gah! Huh? What was I doing? Yep, I like robots much better. At least you can make them any way you want them. And now the poor robot's getting picked on. Robot abuse is happening. Unlike humans with their petty emotions and constant worries. How can you say such things? Feeling emotions, worrying about the things we care about? That's what makes us human. Well, the girl finally talks, and she starts with a speech. That's what makes us human. You mean getting angry and snorting like that? Rational thought, that's what separates humans from animals. Unfortunately, your reasoning capabilities are more akin to that of a clever little monkey. But there's nothing to be ashamed of. It must be nice to have such a simple mind. Can I punch your boss? Get a hold of yourself, Athena. Humans certainly are absurd. I said you were clever, didn't I? Poor thing. Tell me, with people like you in charge, how can I possibly trust the legal system? So she distrusts not only lawyers and prosecutors, but the whole legal system? What in the world happened to this woman to make her so bitter? Even if somebody important to me was killed, I would never wish to see their killer brought to trial, because I'd much rather kill them myself. You can't be serious. That thing you're wearing around your neck. Oh, this? Around Athena's neck? Does she mean widget? Oh, I get it. Well, Her Royal Highness has returned at last to her castle. Her royal what? Is she talking about Athena? By the way, I heard the rumors. Our director's going to be the star witness in court tomorrow, right? Director Cosmos? Yeah, that's right. You poor things. You'd better be careful. That old man is a big liar and a huge braggart. What? He might seem like a bigwig, but the center has all kinds of problems. He has a lot of skeletons in his closet. But it's your problem, so why should I care? What? That's it? No friendly tips? No good luck, guys? Just splendid. I'll leave you to your woes. Come on, hunk-a-junk. It's sad to me that she doesn't believe in our legal system anymore. She must have had a very bad experience to make her feel that way. Are you alright, Athena? You seem very down. Grrr. Just can't believe she said all those things. Wow, she's really upset. Has she been trying not to let it show all this time?
Well, I guess it's not all that surprising. You hear about fabricated evidence and false indictments on the news all the time.
You mean the whole dark age of the law nonsense? I'm so sick of hearing about that.
Well, all we can do is believe in what we're doing.
Yeah. You're right, boss. I agree.
Maybe it's time we went back to see Mr. Starbuck.
Good idea. We should tell him about the bullet and Miss Blackwell's statement.
Alright then.
Next stop, the detention center.
Yeah! Detention center, woo!
My lawyers are here. It must be bad news.
Hey, not necessarily. We found a new witness. A researcher saw the moment of the murder through the lounge window during her escape.
Really? So they're going to let me go?
Unfortunately, it was dark, and she couldn't identify the person.
I should have known. My stars never aligned just right, too.
But we got a lead too, Mr. Starbuck.
The murderer had a lighter with an Earth emblem on it.
A lighter with an Earth emblem?
Oh!
Did you remember something?
Yep, I sure did. Just a little bit, though.
Anything at all would be a help, so please tell us what you remembered.
The lighter. I thought I was unconscious the whole time. But now I remember I woke up for a few brief moments.
That's huge. Do you remember seeing anything?
A lighter. I saw the flame of a lighter floating in the darkness.
Good. What else did you see? What was nearby?
It was definitely the boarding lounge, so it must have been after Clay carried me there. In the light from the flame, I saw a dark shadow flickering. A dark shadow? That must have been the third party we've been looking for.
Thank you, Mr. Starbuck. You've been more help than you know.
If we can prove there was this third person at the scene and that they're the real killer,
then you'll be cleared of all suspicion.
The key will be whether or not we can identify this third person in court tomorrow.
At least we have something to go on now, and that's a big plus. Should probably tidy the evidence up a bit before someone mistakes me for a hoarder. Now that we have a glimmer of hope, I'm suddenly starving. Why don't we go back to the office and treat ourselves to a big celebration in advance? For someone who's highly empathetic, you can be surprisingly unsympathetic. So you found your strategy for tomorrow's trial, huh? Good for you, Daddy. Well, it's one step forward anyway. Hopefully it'll give us a fighting chance in court. As long as we can find out who this third person is.
Now let's get something to eat. I'm starving.
My vote is for El Dune's noodles.
Oh, Apollo! Oh dear.
What are you doing here? I didn't think the clinic was ready to release you yet.
My wounds are fine, and I'm done lying around.
Apollo, you're supposed to be in bed. Leave this case to us. We'll take it from here.
Thanks, but that's not an option. Not for me.
Apollo?
Your injuries.
You shouldn't underestimate your injuries, Apollo. I don't want you overdoing it.
I'm fine. I'm not in pain anymore. Besides, they just gave me an IV at the clinic. An IV isn't a cure-all, mummy man. Anyway, just tell me how the case is going. Have you guys made any progress?
A suspicious figure was spotted at the scene. We think they must be the real killer.
A suspicious figure, huh? Right.
I thought you'd be happier than that. Oh, don't get me wrong. I'm happy. And I fully intend to see Clay's murderer apprehended. Absolutely nothing will get in the way of that. Clay Terran. Clay was your best friend, right, Apollo?
That's right. Best friend since junior high.
Sounds like me and Junie. So, what was Clay like?
Well, he was full of compassion and energy, and he had a really loud voice. If the two of you did voice training together now, I bet you'd break a few windows.
Oh, hey Hiyori. Listen to me. Don't ever click the subscribe button. On Twitch, there's a dark secret. Now what you donate to streamer, take the money, blah blah blah.
So what's all of that about, Hiyori? When you enter a stream, you should say hello, by the way. Give us a big hello and all that. Then do the big paragraph thing. Ha ha ha, you know, I bet you're right.
Hi. Don't click the subscribe button, don't ever, because that happened to me. What happened?
What happened to you, Try to shorten what happened to you, if you can. Clay lived for his dreams. He used to talk about it a lot, and he was going to be an astronaut and me a lawyer. We talked well into the night, and even then, we never grew tired of it. Apollo, about that jacket. Oops. Come on, phone. About that jacket. Oh, it's Clay's. I knew it. It's a special jacket that was only issued to members of the Hat Project. He was finally able to get one of his own once he was selected for the Hat 2 mission. He always looked so proud wearing it. But just when his dream was finally coming true, I still can't believe it. Damn it, it's not fair! Apollo, I hope you don't try to carry the burden all alone. I guess we were both unlucky. My own debut was a disaster. I guess you're right on some level. That trial a year and a half ago wasn't exactly the smoothest of starts. That was a rough time for me, but Clay refused to let me quit. You're fine, he said. He'd say, don't give up. It was right during his screening exams, too. I couldn't have become a full-fledged lawyer without him. The you're fine of his is why I'm still standing here today. You're fine, huh? You're fine. Poor Apollo, I know. His poor friend. You're fine and I'm fine were like your catchphrases, weren't they? Something like that. Sure brings back memories. When we were in junior high, Clay's mom passed away in an accident. But he wouldn't show his sadness to anyone. One night, I found him crying all alone in the school courtyard. Sub, Mom! Mom! Get away, Apollo! Don't come over here! Sub! Clay, listen to me. I don't have a mother either. Huh? I always think everybody else has a mom. Why am I the only one? But, you know, when I start to feel that way, I yell at the top of my lungs. I holler, I'm fine, and then you know what? I start to feel like maybe I really will be fine. Apollo Justice is fine! Okay, Clay, now it's your turn. Okay. Clay Terran is fine. There you go, now we're both fine. We're fine. We're fine! What are you laughing about? See? We're fine. You laugh first. I'm fine. You're fine. We're both fine. We're fine. This happened to you when you logged your Twitch account. So unsub directly to me. Don't stream often. It's a scam. Don't click the subscribe button unless you're sure from it. Well, I'll try not to do that, Hiyori. I'll try not to do that the best I can. Gotta be careful for scams. Thanks, Apollo. When you say it out loud, it really starts to feel real. And as long as you don't give up, you can keep on fighting. That's what we believed. As long as you don't give up. Wasn't there somebody else who said something similar? If I give in to my fear, I'll never find the truth. As long as I don't give up, I can keep up the fight. Arr.
really not good for you, for any streamer, for streaming, alert for everyone.
Well, thank you. Clay called Mr. Starbuck his mentor and looked up to him. I wonder if I can be a good role model for my staff like Mr. Starbuck. Sorry, Mr. Wright, but I'll be taking a leave of absence. What? Wait, what do you mean by a leave? You're really serious. Can you at least give me a reason why? When I put Clay's jacket on, I swore to him that I would catch his killer myself. But that's our goal too! I agree with Athena. We should work together to find the truth. The truth, huh? That's a noble cause. But what if the truth you seek and the truth I seek turn out to be different? I'm not sure I follow. What are you saying, Apollo? I'm going to catch the person responsible for taking my friend's life in my own way. Who said that? Hello, Chromo. How you doing today? It's good to see ya. Take good care of Mr. Starbuck for me. Now I must be going. Goodbye. Welp. Goodbye? Did he just say goodbye? I sensed a lot of seething anger and hatred coming from him. And also, suspicion. Arg, he's not walking out on us like this. I'm going to talk some sense into him. Hold on, Athena. Apollo can believe what he wants, but I believe he's wrong. Even if we take different paths, the truth we arrive at should be the same. I think the quicker we solve this case, the better it'll be for Apollo. Yeah, you're right, boss. Alright, that's enough for one day. Make sure you're ready for tomorrow's trial, okay? If he were here right now, Apollo would say, I'm fine. Everything is fine. I just hope things really do turn out fine tomorrow. Will things be fine, though? Or will they be unfine? Dun 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 dun. Dun 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 dun. Okay, let's go. You have a couple more minutes, so let's do it. Day 2, court is now in session. All rise! I suppose we should reconvene the trial of Solomon Starbuck or something?
Objection!
Your Honor? Could you please come out from under your bench? There are more bombs. There are no more bombs, I promise. Oh, yes. My apologies. I'm still a little jumpy when it comes to trials involving bombs. I mean, first the courtroom exploded, and then Mr. Tonate self-destructed. I guess that's one way of describing what happened to Tonate. Anyway, it seems that Mr. Justice was seriously wounded by Mr. Tonate's actions. So you, Mr. Wright, will be taking up the defense? Do you have an understanding of what has happened in the trial so far? Yes, Your Honor. The defense is ready. Very well. Is the prosecution also ready? I take it you like me to give the opening statement at this time? Looks like the judge has become a pretty good mind reader. Well, he's certainly seen more than his fair share of colorful prosecutors. You could say he's something of a veteran of sorts. Let's see. In the previous part of this trial, we learned that the victim, Clay Terran, escaped from Launchpad 1 carrying the defendant, Solomon Starbuck. There were explosions on the second floor of the Space Center and on the rocket itself. The two astronauts used the Launchpad 1 corridor to reach the boarding lounge. And how could the victim climb down the ladder as if he was carrying the defendant? That was the mystery that needed to be solved. But Mr. Justice proved that the victim was killed in the boarding lounge. Prosecutor Blackwell, were you able to discover any new facts related to this point? Upon further investigation, we discovered an oxygen tank fragment in the lounge. Surprisingly, it would appear that Justice Dono's argument was correct. So that means the testimonies of the first two people on the scene are suspect. There were 2 people who claimed to be the first on the scene of the crime, but can we truly trust their statements? Let's see, the 2 people were Detective Candace Arm and Yuri Cosmos, right? You think that one of them might have given a false statement to the police? Yes, it's certainly possible. We might have to do a little more digging. Oh yeah, guys, who do you think is the murderer of this case? Who could it be? Who do you think it is at this time? Give me your thoughts real quick. As I read. And just as our team was about to cross-examine Detective Arm, the courtroom bombing incident occurred and the trial was put on hold. That accursed fellow. He killed my witness. He killed Detective Arm. He definitely put the kibosh on anyone asking her about what she saw. Have we met them? Not gonna answer. I refuse to testify. Exactly. In other words, the question of who killed the victim in the boarding lounge has once again become the main focus of this trial. Oh no! Do you know? Do you know? Do you know? It's obvious Prosecutor Blackwell still thinks it was Mr. Starbuck. Fulbright says that Blackwell has a thing against the astronaut. Nevertheless, the defense argues that it was a third person in the lounge, and that's who killed the victim.
Objection!
To make such reckless claims in a courtroom takes a bold man, or a stupid one. There was no third party in the boarding lounge. Or have you gone dotty already? Old man.
Objection!
We'll see who's the dotard after I trounce you with my years of experience, little boy. In any case, Mr. Starbuck claims he saw someone leaving the lounge. You're not sure who it is yet? You're not sure. You'll see soon. Maybe not this stream, but definitely the next case, maybe. Furthermore, a Space Center employee also saw a suspicious figure at the scene. They saw the third person? I see my sister has been running her mouth. That's right, I almost forgot that Aura is Prosecutor Blackwell's sister. No matter, she didn't see this mystery person's face clearly. Therefore, there is no evidence to indicate that this person was not the defendant. I guess the possibility that the figure was Mr. Starbuck is still here. There, rather. In brief, we need to determine if a third person was there or not. To this end, we should hear the testimony of one of the first people on the scene. Director Cosmos, huh? Very well. Bailiff, please bring the witness to the stand. Why, I believe I've seen you before in the newspapers. Of course you have. Of course you have. For I am Yuri Cosmos, director of the Cosmos Space Center, which was, of course, named after me, Yuri Cosmos. Don't you have anything you wish to ask me? Looks like he's all geared up to do some bragging. 7 years ago, I successfully launched the Hat 1, and... Everyone already knows how brilliant you are. Even I'm trying to hold back my tears at seeing such a great man standing before me. So could you please proceed directly to your important testimony? Ha ha ha! I see this fine young lad has a proper appreciation of greatness. Then allow me to begin my epochal testimony that will be recorded in the annals of history. Department of Redundancy Departments, please hold while I place you on hold. Please hold while I place you on hold. Also redundant, much redundant. That speech of Prosecutor Blackwell's just now sounded more to me like he was poking fun at Director Cosmos. It's probably for the best that it sailed right over the director's head. Now then, Director Cosmos, the condensed version of your illustrious testimony, please. Detective Arm and I rushed toward the boarding lounge together. We went via the control room and peeked in from there to see what was going on inside. We saw a figure standing in the middle of the lounge and Taryn lying on the floor. I hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck.
I see. So in your testimony, you claim you arrived at the scene after the two had escaped from the launch pad to the lounge, and just after the victim had been killed. Oh, the horror, the humanity. But what I said is what I saw, and what I saw is what I said. Courageous action to take in the force of such terrifying explosions, wouldn't you say? To save my men, I went personally into the epicenter of danger. Epicenter. Risking my own life for theirs. Well, what do you know? It sounds like the director really cares about his men. Yeah, although it sounds more like he was scared and just had a peek from far away. Is the defense ready to cross-examine the witness? Yes, Your Honor. Director Cosmos' testimony is pretty vague. I'm going to have to press him and draw out more information before I do anything else. What I saw at the scene. Detective Arm was under the rush toward the boarding lounge together. We were in the control room when we peeked into going on inside. We saw Brigger standing in the middle of the lounge and Terran is on the floor. Hate to say it, but I can only imagine the standing figure must have been Starbuck.
Hold it!
Aura Blackwell also saw a suspicious figure in the lounge, but she gave the statement that it was too dark to see the person's face clearly. Did you see this figure's face clearly? No, not clearly. The lighter they were holding illuminated the area around their feet at the time. But other than that, I could see little else. That's why I could see Terran, but I couldn't see who the other person was. So for all you know, it might not have been Mr. Starbuck? Isn't that correct? I would like to believe that. Starbuck isn't the type of man who's capable of murder.
Objection!
When the witness entered the boarding lounge, there was no third person there. Isn't that correct, Great Space Center Director? Yes, that's right. Only Starbuck and Terran were there by that time. After we peeked in, the lounge suddenly went dark and the figure vanished. You mean they disappeared? That's odd.
Objection!
The reason the figure appeared to vanish is because it was the defendant. When the witnesses weren't looking, he fell to the floor and feigned unconsciousness. Hold on, Director Cosmos, did you ever take your eyes off of the scene? Just for a brief instant, about as long as it takes for a shooting star to go by. If you took your eyes off the scene, then this third person could have escaped during that time. But what escape route could this person have used? The direction opposite of the control room, the southern door to the elevators. There's no security lock on that door, so it would have been possible to escape that way.
Objection!
Best viewers and followers on streamboo.com. Oh, sweet! Mafia babe, if you're still here, please give this person the royal treatment. Oh, thank you so much. Welcome, new person. I welcome you to this amazing stream. I'm glad that you're real and not a robot, and just weep off. I mean, all the things are possible, right, Dono? Thank you, Mafia babe. The real question is, do you have any proof? Well, is that the new scam, by the way, guys? I've seen that like twice last stream, I think, right? I guess that's the new scam now, that phrase. If we're just talking possibilities, we could each profess whatever we'd like. An inmate used to be a university professor and lunar researcher used to say that there is a kingdom of little green men who live under the surface of the moon. As long as they don't punish us in the name of said moon for what we've done to it. But I say, where's your proof that this quaint kingdom exists? He's calling your theory a work of fiction, boss. And he's right, I don't have any proof yet. Still, the southern door was a possible escape route. I better make a mental note of that. Director Cosmos, may I ask you a question? Yes. Why did you look away from the boarding lounge?
Ha ha ha, there's actually another tale of bravery behind the answer to that. It was when Detective Arms saw the figure and raised her gun. Behind being a great humanitarian and protector of mankind, I tried to stop her. What? You're saying Detective Arm raised her gun as soon as she saw the figure? I imagine her instincts are, as a detective told her that they were the killer. I don't know about that. Are you able to prevent Detective Arm from firing her gun? I'm afraid I was too late. I was unable to stop her. She identified herself clearly, and then... she fired 2 warning shots at the shadowy figure. This information about Detective Arm's actions sounds critically important. Please add it to your testimony. Detective Arm fired 2 warning shots at the figure.
2 warning shots? Because I just see 1.
Objection!
Are you sure you were really paying attention to what Detective Arm was doing? And will you answer that next time, because it's actually really flippin' late out now? Yep, we're at the 3-hour mark, guys, and I think I'm gonna end it right here. So, what do you think of this case so far? This space case. Hope you're all liking it. Not tomorrow. The next day, time we play it, well, you'll see what'll happen next time. I'm not gonna reveal too much. But yeah, I hope you're enjoying it. I'll see you all tomorrow for Skyrim, where I will be back to my normalness. It's very interesting. You want to know who is the killer, and you will, eventually, soon, maybe. But yeah, take care, guys. Have a great night. I have another movie to watch, so I'll get going and doing it. Bye-bye!